the supreme dragon of the era of Tamers. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201 Blazing Phoenix Wutong Branch. 1 billion. Looking at this shocking scene at the main venue, Chen Wei was suddenly a little confused. He knew before that the price of inheritance source stones for high-level skills was extremely high, but he didn't expect it to be so high. However, although the high-level dragon crystals he strengthened awakened random dragon skills and the probability of awakening was only half, they had the powerful effect of purifying dragon blood. In this way, it is definitely not excessive to sell a high-level dragon crystal for 1 billion star coins. However, Chen Wei had no intention of selling high-level dragon crystals. After all, his current pets don't even have enough high-level dragon crystals, not to mention the possibility of exposing his talent. Seeing Chen Wei's eyes fixed on the inheritance source stone on the jade plate, Yu Zilman asked, "Do you want this inheritance source stone? I only have 1.3 billion funds on hand now. If you need it, I can lend it to you." In her opinion, the skill of Crazy Dragon Rampage is definitely a good skill for Chen Wei's Kongming Frost Jiao. It's just that there are too many Beastmasters participating in the competition this time. Even if she lends all the funds on her body to Chen Wei, it is estimated that she will not be able to successfully bid. Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly startled, then smiled and refused. "No, I'm not interested in this Crazy Dragon Rampage skill stone. The price is too high." At this time, the price of this inheritance source stone has soared to as much as 1.5 billion star coins, and some bidders with insufficient funds have even begun to use level 6 beast resources to bid. As the competition became more and more fierce, many small families began to retreat, leaving only a few families still fighting. Until the end, this inheritance source stone was finally bought by the VIP in room 003 at the price of 1.9 billion star coins plus 5 level 6 beast resources. Hearing this terrifying price, even Kei Ling, who had been practicing with her eyes closed, couldn't help but open her eyes. "Good guy, it turns out that the high-level dragon crystals I have fed to Bai Luo and Kei Ling in the past few months are worth tens of billions of star coins." Chen Wei couldn't help but think absent-mindedly. "I thought I had paid enough attention to the second talent, the power of dragon control, but now it seems that I underestimated it." When the last auction item, the Dazzling King level, True Scale Wind Horse, Cub, was auctioned off by room 002, Chen Wei, who felt his eyes were opened, slowly stood up and planned to leave the auction house with Yu Zilman. However, the last auction item that appeared at the venue suddenly stopped him in his tracks. It was a tattered branch that looked like a dead tree and had an extremely weak fire source energy. The 6th level fire and wood dual element beast taming resource, Fiery Phoenix Wutong Branch, a branch of a spiritual tree that the legendary Fiery Phoenix once inhabited, is said to be able to revive beast tamers who have recently died. The starting price is 100 million star coins, and the bid increment is 1 million each time. Wu Huayu introduced it in an excited voice. However, the price on the big screen did not fluctuate at all. Obviously, no beast tamer chose to bid it this time. Is it going to fail again this time? I said the starting price of 100 million is a bit high. Who would spend so much money on a piece of rotten wood that is almost useless? Standing at the venue, looking at all the silent private rooms in the distance, Wu Huayu secretly complained in her heart. "What's wrong? Are you interested in the so-called Blazing Phoenix Wutong Branch?" Seeing Chen Wei's eyes focused on the Wutong Branch, Yu Zilman was surprised. Chen Wei suppressed his excitement and said in a calm tone, "Well, I want to buy it, but I don't have enough star coins. Can you lend me some?" Hearing this, Yu Zilman said without hesitation, "Of course, damn it, the auction will end in 30 seconds. I shouldn't have agreed with the young master and put this rotten wood at the end." As a gold medal host, Wu Huayu felt that the days were long and she even wanted to signal her people in the private room upstairs to buy the wood. At this time, in room 002, a petite teenager said somewhat unhappily, "This broken piece of wood can be seen at every auction. This thing has been unsold 5 or 6 times. It has to be auctioned again this time. It's really disappointing." However, a bid of 100 million star coins suddenly appeared on the big screen in the venue. Wu Huayu's eyes suddenly lit up. VIP number 063 bid 100 million star coins. Is there a higher bid? Unfortunately, Except for room 063, the Beastmasters in other rooms had no intention of competing for it, so Wu Huayu had to knock the hammer in his hand lightly on the long table. Interesting, it's not the person I arranged. Someone bought this sycamore branch that has lost most of its fiery phoenix aura. Is it ignorance or indifference? In room 001, Wu Haonan, the young master of the Wu family behind the black gold auction house, saw someone bidding, and his eyes suddenly condensed. Could it be that this sycamore branch hides some secrets? After pondering for a moment, he finally couldn't help shaking his head and smiling. Maybe I'm overthinking. There aren't so many hidden treasures in this world. That old guy is just a liar. A year ago, Wu Haonan bought this sycamore branch from a mysterious old man in the Xingfang Mountain secret realm of Heilun province with 100 million star coins. He originally wanted to use the revival ability of the sycamore branch as his life-saving trump card, but who would have thought that there was something wrong with this sycamore branch? The aura of the fiery phoenix on it would disappear for no reason every month. Because of this strange situation, he specially asked a master appraiser to appraise it, but the conclusion he came to was that he was deceived. This is indeed a fiery phoenix sycamore branch, but the aura of the fiery phoenix on it has long been consumed and used. He felt that the aura of the fiery phoenix was actually the aura of other phoenix pets disguised. According to Wu Haonan's investigation, there were 5 Beastmasters who bought the fiery phoenix sycamore branch in the Xingfang Mountain secret realm a year ago with 100 million star coins, and this situation occurred in all of them. What made him most angry was that this matter had been spread among the upper class of Shushan City at some point. Otherwise, Wu Haonan would rather throw the sycamore branch away than auction it. It was only 100 million star coins. He could afford to lose this little money, but he couldn't lose face. He wanted to let people know that if he could buy the Chihuang sycamore branch for 100 million star coins, he could sell it for 100 million star coins. For this reason, he even planned to hide it from his family and secretly send a subordinate to buy the sycamore branch. However, a gentleman should help others achieve their goals. Since someone liked it, he didn't have to take the risk of being discovered to secretly take a picture of this broken wood. The Yu family in room 063 seemed to be a family worth making friends with. Success. Seeing the host knock down the hammer, Chen Wei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and then saw him say to Yu Zilman on the side, "Thank you. I will pay back the star coins I owe as soon as possible." Yu Zilman shook her head. "You're welcome. It's just a small matter." Chapter 202 Throbbing Egg. In Yu Zilman's opinion, this blazing phoenix Wutong branch is not worth even 10 million star coins, let alone 100 million star coins. If it weren't for the legendary immortal demigod, this Wutong branch could not be rated as a 6th level beast resource, at most a 4th level beast resource. However, based on her understanding of Chen Wei, this Wutong branch might really be a treasure. Thinking of this, Yu Zilman raised her hand and gently patted Chen Wei's shoulder. "You can pay back the 100 million star coins slowly. For the sake of friendship, I will only charge you 10% annual interest." "Is that enough for a friend? 10 million star coins a year in interest?" Chen Wei raised a slight arc at the corner of his mouth and teased, "You are a loan shark." However, compared to the debt of favor, Yu Zilman's clear account behavior made him feel more comfortable. Yu Zilman was slightly stunned when she heard this, and then smiled and said, "Why don't you hug K Ling for me, and I will reduce the interest to 5% for you." Chen Wei smiled dumbly. No wonder Yu Zilman offered such a high interest rate. It turned out that he coveted K Ling's body. "K Ling, is this okay? Things are different now." He is not going to force K Ling to operate for 5 million star coins. Hearing this, K Ling looked up at Yu Zilman for a few times, with a hesitant look, and finally nodded. "Yeah, Cap. Oh, okay." Yu Zilman's eyes suddenly lit up, and she happily hugged the mini K Ling in her arms. At this time, the auction was over. Knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. It was still the familiar Deacon Wu who walked in front. "Miss Yu, excuse me, do you know the use of this blazing phoenix Wutong branch?" Deacon Wu asked respectfully. "To express my apology, whether your answer or not, this blazing phoenix Wutong branch only needs to pay half of the transaction price in star coins." Yu Zilman touched K Ling's soft hand and paused, with a little dissatisfaction in his eyes. "Why, are you at Black Gold Auction House so involved now? You even want to interfere with the use of the goods that customers buy?" Then, she snorted and asked disdainfully, "Besides, do you think I'm short of this mere 50 million star coins?" Chen Wei, Deacon Wu trembled and bent his waist more sharply. If it wasn't for the young master's personal order, he wouldn't dare to violate the rules of the auction house so blatantly. I'm really sorry, go away. This time, Yu Zilman didn't even look at Deacon Wu. After seeing Deacon Wu leave, Chen Wei looked at the girl beside him in surprise. I didn't expect you to have such a domineering side. No, Yu Zilman smiled slightly. Unlike Chen Wei, who has unlimited potential, a small auction deacon is not qualified to show off in front of her. Yu Zilman showed a curious look on her face. However, the fact that Deacon Wu broke the auction rules to ask about its purpose shows that the sycamore branch you picked is indeed extraordinary. However, before Chen Wei could answer, she naturally changed the subject. By the way, because of what happened just now, the 100 million star coins you owed me became 50 million. Don't make a mistake. Thank you. Chen Wei smiled silently. Then he looked at the blazing phoenix sycamore branch on the card and used the perspective spirit eyes to investigate again. Exhausted blazing phoenix sycamore branch, a 4th level fire and wood dual element beast resource. In addition to being able to gain the favor of some specific phoenix pets, it seems to be just an ordinary piece of wood and has no effect. The 6th level beast resource mentioned by the Black Gold auction house was only 4th level in the appraisal of the perspective spirit eyes. It was so watery that it was no wonder that other beast masters didn't even think about bidding. Yu Zilman's attention was always on Chen Wei. Seeing his eyes shining, she handed the jade box on the cart to him generously. Holding the jade box containing the sycamore branch, Chen Wei felt that the divine egg in his mind was shaking slightly, as if urging him to act quickly. Yes, the reason why Chen Wei chose to auction the sycamore branch was purely because of the restlessness and desire of the divine egg. Although he didn't know the specific reason, he knew that items that could cause the reaction of the divine egg were definitely rare. It was also because of this that even though his transparent spiritual eyes could not see any strangeness, Chen Wei still felt that this blazing phoenix sycamore branch was a rare treasure, and even fought for it. This auction is right. When Chen Wei thought of the secrets that might be hidden in the black gold fire rock and the blazing phoenix sycamore branch, he couldn't wait. So he and Yu Zilman left the auction house quickly. Back home, Chen Wei began to sort out the harvest tonight. He first took out a cold crystal frost sand and ice flame crystal flower from the star ring, and then handed them to Kailing. Seeing this, Kailing opened her mouth without hesitation and swallowed these 2 high-level ice resources into the space in her stomach for preservation. That's right. Under Bai Luo's recent teaching, although Kailing did not learn new offensive space skills, she accidentally awakened her own personal space. However, compared with Bai Luo's vast spiritual plant space, the space opened up by Kailing is at most a small box, about 3 meters x 3 meters x 3 meters. Then, Chen Wei took out another purple light crystal tiger magic core and placed it on Yutong's stomach while she was sleeping on the sofa. Oh, delicious. Yutong slowly opened her sleepy eyes. You should first get familiar with the source power fluctuations of this magic core in advance, so that it may be easier to evolve. Remember, don't actively absorb the source power in the magic core, so as not to evolve in advance. Chen Wei tapped Yutong's head with his finger and warned. If it was any other pet, Chen Wei would not have to give such a warning, but there was no way. The titanium crystal puppet was a special pet that had a certain probability of completing its evolution, even by absorbing the energy of the magic core. Meow, understood. Feeling the majestic energy on the magic core, Yutong nodded with satisfaction. Seeing that Kailing and Yutong both had gifts, Bai Luo's green eyes immediately looked at his beastmaster expectantly. This is for you. Chen Wei took out the 2 auxiliary spiritual plants for farming, the Biksha bamboo and the Narcissus lingru. Chirp, I like it. Seeing Bai Luo's look of love, Chen Wei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and then he carefully took out a blazing phoenix Wutong branch. Unlike before, when Chen Wei touched the Wutong branch with his own hands, he heard a series of violent heartbeats in his mind. Could it be that the divine egg is about to hatch? Chen Wei couldn't help but daydream. At this moment, the blazing phoenix Wutong branch in his hand actually made a crisp phoenix cry, and then a brilliant red light flashed, and the Wutong branch seemed to be ignited and began to burn itself. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203 Fire Rock Secret Treasure. The flames on the phoenix tree branch were burning fiercely, and even some colorful and brilliant clouds were floating from time to time. Surprisingly, the flames gushing out of the phoenix tree branch did not cause any damage to Chen Wei's palm, but made him feel a little warm and comfortable. As time passed slowly, the blazing phoenix tree branch was gradually burned to ashes, and the brilliant clouds began to slowly merge into Chen Wei's body, and finally rushed to the divine egg in his mind. Just like that, looking at the phoenix tree branch that had turned to ashes in his hand and the divine egg that was gradually returning to peace in his mind, Chen Wei was slightly startled. What's going on? The phoenix tree branch that cost 50 million star coins just made him see a gorgeous cloud, and nothing else happened. This divine egg won't eat it all by itself, leaving me no clouds at all. With this idea in mind, Chen Wei stared at the divine egg in the consciousness space with his mental power, trying to find its changes. In the first minute, the divine egg did not respond. After 2 minutes, it still did not respond. The last 3 minutes passed, and just when Chen Wei wanted to give up, the divine egg trembled slightly, and a drop of crystal clear water slowly flowed out of the eggshell, and then dripped onto his source star. In an instant, Chen Wei felt that his brain suddenly became extremely clear, and the speed of his thinking was greatly accelerated. The already magnificent mental power ushered in a great improvement, and even the cultivation of the source star that had just entered the third stage began to soar. Without thinking too much, he directly began to meditate and practice with full concentration, trying to break through his source star to the fourth stage with the extremely pure energy that flowed from the divine egg. However, unfortunately, the source power and mental power required for the fourth level source star advancement are too huge, even more than all the source power and mental power added up when Chen Wei broke through the source star from the early stage of the third stage to the middle stage, and from the middle stage to the late stage. Although the magnificent source power released by this drop of pure energy is of extremely high quality, it is still not enough to make up for the terrible consumption caused by the advancement of his own source star. After realizing this during the refining process, Chen Wei decisively gave up the idea of advancing his source star, and instead began to refine and stabilize his own source star cultivation. Boom! As the last source power was completely refined, a strong mental force surged out of Chen Wei's body, and even set off a gust of wind that swept everything, and even the furniture in the hall was broken and shattered under the weight. Looking at the messy hall in front of him, Chen Wei's handsome face showed an ecstatic smile. He didn't expect that the divine egg in his mind would be so powerful. Just a drop of energy gift can push his third stage late source star cultivation directly to the peak, saving several years of hard practice. With such a terrifying progress, let alone smashing the furniture in the hall, even smashing this villa is worth it. These 50 million star coins are really worth it. Chen Wei couldn't help but chuckle with satisfaction. I don't know if the Black Gold auction house still has the Chihuang Wutong branch in stock now. If so, he would like to buy a few more. If every blazing Phoenix Wutong branch could receive the gift of the divine egg like this, why would he need the star condensation pill? Wouldn't it be better to just wholesale the Wutong branches? Meow. Oh, my sofa. Wutong's wailing suddenly sounded in the hall. Looking at the tattered sofa, Chen Wei smiled awkwardly. Don't worry, I'll place an order now and replace the sofa for you tonight. Hearing this, Wutong's gemstone eyes that were about to shed tears suddenly retracted. Meow. Cyrillic lettered, it's a deal. Under the power of money, in just over half an hour, the previously messy hall suddenly became clean and tidy. Wutong lay on the brand new sofa and shook her cute fluffy head with some dissatisfaction. This new sofa is too new, not as comfortable as the old one before. Ba Luo, come with me. In order to prevent further damage, Chen Wei planned to open a blind box in the courtyard this time. Chirp, oh, okay. Hearing this, Ba Luo followed closely. In the courtyard, Chen Wei's fingers flashed, and the black and shiny black fire rock appeared in front of him instantly. Unlike the restrained phoenix wood, the existence of this black fire rock directly raised the temperature of the courtyard by several degrees. Chen Wei stared at the black fire rock with his eyes. Bai Luo, can you see the problem with this stone? With the appearance of the black fire rock, the dragon controlling power in his body began to tremble. You know, even the unknown dragon scale he encountered in the secret realm of Nanbin Mountain could not convey such a strong attraction. As soon as Chen Wei finished speaking, Bai Luo walked to the fire rock curiously. It first closed its eyes and sensed it, and then patted the fire stone with its little hands. Chirp, no problem, Bai Luo said confidently. Seeing this, Chen Wei sighed lightly and rubbed his temples in some distress. It seems to be a bit difficult. Even Bai Luo, who is a dragon, can't see the specific problem. Seeing the Beastmaster's troubled face, Bai Luo turned his eyes to the broken stone in front of him. He really didn't know what the problem was with a piece of stone. He could suck up the dual source power of fire and earth in an instant. Bai Luo, if there is something inside this stone, can you take it out without affecting the things inside? Chen Wei raised his hand and touched the black gold fire rock. He could feel that the treasure he wanted was inside. Hearing this, Bai Luo touched the green leaves on his head and fell into deep thought. Chirp, I can try. Under Chen Wei's nervous gaze, a dark and deep sphere appeared in Bai Luo's little hand. He saw his little hand gently scratch the surface of the fire rock, and a large piece of thin black gold fire rock quietly fell into his hand. Chirp, is this okay? Taking the piece of black gold fire rock handed over by Bai Luo, Chen Wei found that the power of controlling dragons in his body did not fluctuate, and his eyes were thoughtful. Take your time, just cut it piece by piece. Bai Luo nodded, and every time he waved his hand, a large piece of fire rock as thin as a cicada's wing fell. After a while, 1/5 of the area of this black gold fire rock had disappeared. Chirp, there is something. At this time, Bai Luo raised his hand excitedly. Chen Wei's expression became more serious. Be careful, don't hurt the treasure inside. Then, he was surprised to find that as the incision of the fire rock became larger and larger, the inside of this black gold fire rock gradually revealed a foot that looked like a dark red crystal, and the 5 red claws under the foot, 3 in front and 2 in the back, full of terrifying power. Thank you for your recent monthly votes. Thank you for your support. Especially the big winter maple leaf. This is the first time I have seen so many monthly votes. Chapter 204, Brilliant Dragon Claw. Chen Wei couldn't help but be distracted when he saw the dark red scales flashing a mysterious light in the black fire rock. Could this be a real dragon claw? He murmured in disbelief. After all, in his eyes, the powerful overlord who can be called a real dragon has extremely terrifying size and strength. Even a random dragon scale can suppress all beasts. It's the first time he has seen the dark red dragon claw in front of him, which looks beautiful and powerful, but the real dragon's aura has not leaked at all. It's like a work of art without any pressure. He has never even heard of it. Bai Luo didn't think much about it, and handed the dragon claw to the Beastmaster like offering a treasure. The length of the dragon claw is about 1 meter. If calculated according to the size of a real dragon, the owner of this dragon claw is at most a young dragon. As soon as he got started, Chen Wei suddenly found that his dragon-controlling power began to stir. This feeling was even more intense than when he got the dragon scale of the Rift Emperor dragon in the Heritage Ruins. Eat it, eat it. Chen Wei was shocked when he felt the urge coming from deep in his brain. Could this desire come from the Tyrant Dragon secret record? He could feel that if he ate the dragon claw in front of him, his Tyrant Dragon secret record would be able to break through to the 2nd level, and even have the chance to soar to the 3rd level. You must know that according to the records of the secret record, the physical strength of a practitioner who has cultivated the Tyrant Dragon secret record to the 3rd level is enough to rival a 5th level real dragon, and even if he is defeated by a 6th level king, he can still fight 1 or 2. Thinking of this, Chen Wei shook his head, suppressed his inner desire, and directly activated the Perspective Spirit Eye, unknown Huanglong's right claw. Level Beast Resource, the Huanglong right claw that has not decayed after a long time, has the domineering power to burn and crush everything, and its specific use is unknown. Is this an 8th level resource or a 9th level resource? Even the Perspective Spirit Eye can't identify the specific level. Chen Wei couldn't help swallowing his throat, and a touch of ecstasy appeared on his face. The surprise came too suddenly. He stared at the dragon claw in front of him for a long time. Finally, he smiled softly and looked at Bai Luo beside him. Let's go back to the spiritual plant space first. If you want to absorb and refine this dragon claw, there is no place safer than Bai Luo's spiritual plant space. Chirp, oh, okay. Waves of silver ripples flickered in the surrounding space, and a mysterious space door quietly opened. In order to prevent some damage to the medicinal field, Chen Wei specially found a small hill far away from the medicinal field that was suitable for refining the dragon claw. After confirming that the Beastmaster would refine the dragon claw himself, the 3 pets who were worried surrounded Chen Wei to avoid any accidents. As for objections, there was no objection at all. After all, they also knew that as Chen Wei's strength became stronger, The strengthening effect of the dragon power they could enjoy every day would become stronger, and even the scarce high-level dragon crystals would no longer be lacking. Bai Luo, can you cut off a small piece of the dragon claw's foot? Chen Wei swallowed his saliva and asked softly. Even if he was confident in his own strength, Chen Wei did not think that he could refine and absorb this unknown level of Huanglong right claw at one time. It is good to reach the sky in one step, but you also need to consider your own foundation. Don't be afraid of 10,000, just be afraid of one. He is afraid that his body can't bear the majestic energy contained in the dragon claw. Shiji, Greek letter Omega, I'll try. Affected by Chen Wei's nervous mood, Bai Luo, who has always been optimistic, can't help but have a more solemn look on his face. Bai Luo waved his little hand, and a crisp metal collision sound suddenly sounded. Looking at the dragon claw in front of him, which was motionless and intact, even with Bai Luo's naive temper, he couldn't help but touch the green leaves on his head awkwardly. Chen Wei regretted, can't you cut it open? If Bai Luo couldn't cut it open, he really didn't dare to absorb the energy from the dragon claw at the risk of exploding and dying. Hearing this, Bai Luo shook his head, and the expression on his face became more serious. He closed his forefingers, and a deep black light that seemed to absorb the soul completely enveloped his little hand. Then it glanced at the burning red dragon claw, and used its palm as a blade to slash at the dragon claw heavily. Boom! A deafening roar suddenly broke out, and Chen Wei even felt that the spiritual plant space he was in was shaking violently at this moment, and a strong shock wave that swept everything suddenly broke out. Fuck! Chen Wei didn't expect that just an ordinary cut could cause such a big commotion. Seeing this, Kailing's eyes flashed blue, and a protective shield condensed by mental power instantly enveloped the Beastmaster and Yutong beside him. Chen Wei looked at the smoky scene in front of him and said subconsciously, fortunately, I carefully changed it place, otherwise this huge movement would definitely not be hidden from the Shushan City Beast Taming Association. Then, Bai Luo's somewhat lost figure gradually appeared in the hazy smoke. Chirp, oh, can't cut it, it's okay, forget it if it can't be cut. Chen Wei comforted Bai Luo, and then took the spotless Huanglong claw from its hand, and hesitated for a moment. If he had a slight idea of absorbing the dragon claw's source power before, after seeing the scene in front of him, this idea had almost disappeared. Even the 7th level overlord couldn't break the Huanglong claw. Chen Wei didn't think that his small body could withstand it. After carefully examining the dragon claw, he forcibly suppressed his inner greed and desire, and took out a meteorite treasure box from the star ring. Then he thought about it, and the originally small-sized meteorite treasure box suddenly increased several times. The next second, the treasure box opened, and the burning red dragon claw turned into dazzling rainbow light and was stored in the meteorite treasure box. As the meteorite treasure box isolated the dragon claw's breath from the source power fluctuations, Chen Wei's extremely active dragon controlling power in his mind suddenly calmed down. It was a close call. If it weren't for the meteorite treasure chest, I almost couldn't resist the temptation brought by the Huanglong claw. Chen Wei wiped the sweat on his forehead. If it was just the interference of the tyrant dragon secret record, it would be fine. The key is that he couldn't resist a violent fluctuation of the dragon power. The star ring between Chen Wei's fingers flashed, and the meteorite treasure chest, which was restored to pocket form, was immediately put into the star ring. Me, not refining it? Yutong asked with some regret. Ah, yes. Chen Wei nodded with a wry smile. For a Beastmaster, resource supplements with too strong effects are sometimes almost like poison. After this, unless he can guarantee his own safety, he will never dare to rashly absorb the dragon power from the Huanglong claw. Chapter 205 College Entrance Examination begins. On June 7th of the star calendar, there were still 3 days before the official start of the Donghua National Beast Taming College Entrance Examination. At this time, in the classroom of Beast Taming Class 2, Chen Wei was chatting with Wang Zhichen, whom he had not seen for a long time. You are really good, you even have a study manual for alchemists, Wang Zhixiang said excitedly as he looked at the book in his hand. You know, his dream has always been to become an alchemist of high status. However, the junior alchemist who cooperated with his family despised his poor qualifications and did not even intend to teach him any real skills. There was no other way, so he had to change to new alchemist with the help of his family. But an apprentice is an apprentice. After doing odd jobs for so long, the knowledge of alchemy he could learn was so little that he even doubted himself and wanted to give up this dream. But this idea of giving up ended quietly today. The knowledge of alchemy described in the alchemist's study manual in front of him was not only vivid, but also many of the methods of refining elixirs in it were methods he had never heard of or seen before. With this manual, he might be able to try again. On the other hand, Chen Wei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw that old Wang didn't become estranged because of the long time they hadn't seen each other, and that he liked his gift very much. It's better to teach a man how to fish than to give him a fish. He had known old Wang's dream for a long time. After getting the consent of Sister Muning, he rewrote the knowledge allowed to be circulated in the alchemist's manual into a brand new manual. After the excitement, Wang Zichen hesitated for a while, and finally pushed the manual in his hand back to Chen Wei's desk. Why don't we just forget it? This book must be very expensive. Although old Wang said this, his eyes were still fixed on the alchemist's manual. Seeing this, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile. If you feel you've gotten a bargain, you can transfer 100,000 star coins to me as the money to buy the book. Upon hearing this, old Wang's eyes lit up, but he said a little embarrassedly, "Isn't 100,000 star coins too little?" Chen Wei was slightly startled and suggested, "The cost of copying this manual alone cost me more than 200 star coins. It's really a bit too little to sell it to you for 100,000. How about selling it to you for 200,000 star coins? Deal, I'll transfer it now." Wang Zichen took the manual back and responded without hesitation. "By the way, it's best not to spread the knowledge in this manual casually." Seeing old Wang's smiling face, Chen Wei reminded him. Wang Zichen held the manual tightly in his palm. "I understand, the knowledge of the alchemist is extremely precious, and he will never pass it on. Can I buy a copy?" Their exchange aroused the interest of the two people at the back table. Su Shijing, a famous beautiful girl in beast taming class 2, couldn't help asking. "Sorry, there's only one copy, and it's sold out." Chen Wei waved his hand to refuse. Hearing this, Su Shijing widened her beautiful eyes and said in a sour tone, "Didn't you say the cost price is more than 200 star coins? I can pay 500,000 star coins. Can you let me make a copy?" Chen Wei shrugged and looked at Lao Wang beside him. The meaning was self-evident. Seeing this, Su Shijing also looked at Wang Zichen with bright eyes expectantly. "Sorry, I won't sell it." Lao Wang didn't think about it and directly put the manual into the star ring. "Are you kidding? You want to buy the alchemist manual for 500,000 star coins? Don't even think about it." Su Shijing's eyes darkened and gave up the idea of buying it. Although this movement was very small, it still attracted the attention of other students in the class. Feeling the awe of the classmates around him and the whispers that his mental power could clearly perceive, Chen Wei couldn't help but sigh in his heart. People who are famous are prone to gossip. Since he won the first place in the beast control competition, his every move has become the focus of his classmates' eyes. This is really a bit uncomfortable. Fortunately, he only needs to report to the class today. Bang, bang, bang. Just then, the sound of fingers tapping on the blackboard rang out. The head teacher Zhou Yuan stood on the podium and began to emphasize the importance of the college entrance examination to the students. Today is the last day before the college entrance examination. Listen to what I have to say first. The choice of a Beastmaster University will directly affect the height of your future career as a Beastmaster. This is definitely not alarmist. You must know that Hanyang University is an ordinary Beastmaster University in our Hanyang province. The probability that a Beastmaster who graduates from this university can become a king before the age of 30 is less than 0.00001%. That is to say, only one young king-level Beastmaster can be born among 1 million Beastmasters at Hanyang University, and the probability that a Beastmaster who graduates from the 8 major colleges can become a king is 0.01%. That is, there is only 1 in 10,000 talented Beastmasters who can break through to the king level before the age of 30. As for the 5 major Donghua universities, which are known as the Cradle of Kings, they are even more amazing. The king rate alone has reached an astonishing 1%, which means that among 100 talented Beastmasters, there is a Beastmaster with terrifying qualifications who can become a king before the age of 30. It is precisely because of this that no one in our Shushan city has been admitted to the 5 major Donghua universities for many years. As your class teacher, I hope that this year, in addition to Chen Wei, there will be more students who can be admitted to the 5 major universities and 8 colleges of Donghua. This is also my greatest expectation for you. As soon as the class teacher finished speaking, the envious eyes of the classmates in the class immediately focused on Chen Wei. In their eyes, Chen Wei, who won the first place in the provincial beast control competition, will definitely be admitted to the 5 major universities of Donghua. Sensing these hot eyes, Chen Wei smiled helplessly. At this time, Lao Wang looked at the admission ticket he had just received in his hand and asked curiously, "By the way, my examination room was assigned to number 2 middle school, how about you?" "I was assigned to number 1 middle school." Chen Wei glanced at the admission ticket and said indifferently, "Number 1 middle school? I heard that Yu Zilman from number 1 middle school has teamed up with you several times, and the relationship is pretty good." Lao Wang showed a curious smile on his face. Chen Wei patted Lao Wang's shoulder helplessly. "We will start the college entrance examination the day after tomorrow." "You still care about these things?" Wang Zhichen sighed. "To be honest, my grades are stagnant. I am satisfied to be admitted to Hanyang University." "What about you? Which university are you going to apply for?" "Zhichen University." "Great." The beast taming college entrance examination is divided into 2 rounds. The first round is the theoretical assessment, and the second round is the practical assessment. And today is the first day of the National Beast Taming College Entrance Examination. After passing the routine inspection at the door of the classroom, Chen Wei calmly found his seat with his admission ticket and stationery bag. Relying on his strong memory and profound spiritual power, he has already mastered all the knowledge of the subjects to be tested in the Beast Taming College Entrance Examination. Although this may not get a full score in the theoretical assessment, it is still a piece of cake for Chen Wei to get a high score. Thanks to the Butterfly Dragon Emperor Ao Tuna for the reward of 500 starting coins. Chapter 206, Difficulty Increased. There were still 20 minutes before the exam started. Chen Wei scanned the surroundings and found that there was not a single familiar face in the classroom. After all, there are so many candidates taking the Beast Taming College Entrance Examination, so it is reasonable that they cannot be assigned together. Thinking of this, he began to meditate with his eyes closed, preparing to face the exam in his best condition. The first morning exam was about the study of exotic beasts. Chen Wei first glanced through it and found that the questions on the test paper were all common types of questions. Even the last few big questions that were obviously used to increase the score were relatively simple in his eyes. Sure enough, this kind of exam that can get high scores by rote memorization is basically not difficult for practitioners with superb mental power. Chen Wei began to answer the questions with a relaxed look. "Sorry, according to the regulations, late candidates are not allowed to enter the examination room." At this time, a small commotion near the door of the classroom attracted Chen Wei's attention. Looking at the strange classmate who was crying with his face covered at the door, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Although he heard that there were always some candidates who were late for the Beast Taming College Entrance Examination every year due to various accidents, this was the first time Chen Wei had seen such a thing with his own eyes. However, compared with the proportion of theoretical knowledge assessment, the candidates' source star assessment and practical assessment are obviously more important and have more points. Although the lack of a theoretical exam has a significant impact on the candidates, as long as the strength of the Beast Master is strong enough, even if the basic score does not meet the application threshold of the 5 major colleges in Donghua, the 8 colleges can still give it a try. After all, in the final analysis, the Beast Master still has to rely on strength to speak. What a pity. Chen Wei shook his head, and then handed in the paper and left in advance in the surprised eyes of the candidates around him. The afternoon exam was resource theory, which was the subject that Chen Wei was most confident in as an appraiser, and it was also the subject he was most confident in getting full marks. The result was obviously self-evident. He completed this exam smoothly and should be able to get full marks. The next morning was the elixir theory. After quickly finishing the last few questions that were extremely difficult for ordinary beast masters, Chen Wei couldn't help but look out the window and smile slightly. It seems that he is lucky. These are all knowledge points mentioned in the Alchemist Manual. I don't know if Lao Wang has been reading the Alchemist Manual these days. If so, he should be able to get a good score in this exam then. It was still the familiar early submission link. The candidates in the classroom have already gotten used to it. In their opinion, Chen Wei, who can submit his papers early every time, is either a knowledgeable academic master or a self-destructive academic scum. The last exam in the afternoon was the theory of source instruments, which was Chen Wei's worst subject. But even so, he still completed all the questions perfectly, except for the second to last question. The star ring in the hands of the Beast Master is the home of the pet. Can the star ring with 1/3 of the ring surface missing in the battle still be used? If it can still be used, How many repair methods can maintain the space inside the star ring to prevent its internal space from collapsing? Please list them in order. A new question type this year? Such a weird question. Chen Wei was a little confused for a while. After pondering for a moment, he decisively wrote that it can continue to be used. As for the methods of repairing the problem later, he had to rely on random guessing. After all, it was the beast taming college entrance examination. If he had the chance to get one more point, he would get one more point. What if he guessed it right by luck? After handing in the test paper and leaving the venue, Chen Wei estimated his approximate score in his mind as he walked. Not bad. I should be able to get more than 570 points in this theoretical exam. The Beast Taming Theory College Entrance Examination has a total of 4 subjects, each with a full score of 100 points, and a total score of 600 points. Last year, the score required by the 5 major universities of Donghua was 560 points, which should be more than enough with his current estimated score. Long time no see, Chen Wei. A familiar clear female voice suddenly sounded. Seeing the familiar figure, Yu Zilman immediately quickened her pace and walked to Chen Wei's side in a short while. She smiled and patted Chen Wei on the shoulder. The theoretical exam is finally over. How did you do? Are you confident? Well, Rosewood University should be no problem. Looking at the graceful girl in front of him, Chen Wei smiled modestly. Me too. Yu Zilman smiled confidently, then looked at the teaching building not far away. I heard that the practical assessment of Rosewood University will be very difficult this time. Hearing this, Chen Wei showed some curiosity on his face. Has the content of the practical assessment of Rosewood University this year been announced? Yu Zilman shook her head. The specific content has not been announced yet, but I heard that as long as the practical assessment score reaches 100 points this year, you can enter Rosewood University. 100 points, Chen Wei murmured. He had heard some news about the practical assessment of the 5 major universities in Donghua, but compared with the practical scores in previous years, 100 points was too low. He knew that Ning Yi, the top scorer in the college entrance examination in Shushan City last year, had a practical score of 115 points, but still failed to get into the 5 major universities in Donghua. If this is true, the lower the admission score of Rosewood University this year, the more difficult the practical assessment will be. Yes, I feel that my chances of getting into Rosewood University this year are much slimmer, and it can even be said to be impossible. Yu Zilman smiled bitterly. Then do you want to give up? Chen Wei stared at her closely. Yu Zilman clenched her fists and suddenly said in an extremely firm voice, I don't want to give up. If I don't give it a try, I really won't give up. Turning his head to look at the sunset in the distance, Chen Wei changed the subject and said, by the way, I still owe you a midnight snack. Can it be replaced with dinner? Yu Zilman was slightly stunned, and a smile appeared on her face. Let me make it clear first, I want to have a big meal. Don't worry, it's definitely a big meal. So, Chen Wei took Yu Zilman back to his home. Didn't you say you would take me to a big meal? What are you doing? Yu Zilman subconsciously scanned the layout of the hall. Well, it was not bad, unexpectedly clean. Isn't it a big meal if I, a chef, personally cook it? Chen Wei replied with a smile. Compared to eating out, he still believes in his own skills more. Then I'll wait and see. By the way, is there anything I can help with? Looking at Chen Wei's busy back, Yu Zilman couldn't help but stand up and ask. No, I can do it myself. Kei Ling, come and make tea. Yu Tong, you entertain the guests. What a beautiful titanium crystal puppet. Is it a mutant? Yu Zilman gently hugged Yu Tong, who was sleeping on the sofa. It was the first time she saw a titanium crystal puppet with one blue eye and one red eye. Meow, let me go. Yu Tong, who was forced to serve, began to struggle violently. If it weren't for her own Beastmaster's dissuasion, she would have wanted to hide her face with a fireball. Chapter 207 Source Star Test. Cap. Oh, please have some tea. Kayling moved her telekinesis, and the hot tea she had just poured moved in front of Yu Zilman under her telekinesis. So cute. Yu Zilman's eyes sparkled with hearts, and she subconsciously reached out to hold Kayling in her arms. Swoosh, Kayling chose to teleport away. There was no other way, so Yu Zilman could only touch the titanium crystal puppet on her knees with regret, which was unable to resist and finally shrank into a ball. Half an hour later. It's time to eat. Chen Wei arranged the delicious dishes one by one. Looking at the lobster feast on the table with all the colors, aromas and flavors, Yu Zilman blinked her eyes in disbelief. Did you make all this? Of course, this is my special 5-way lobster meal, Chen Wei nodded confidently. He believed that the food made with top-grade ingredients, lava lobster meat, was definitely a feast. Looking at the golden and delicious steamed lobster brain egg in front of her, Yu Zilman couldn't help but purse her lips, and a look of incredible surprise appeared on her delicate face. On the white and clear ice crystals are pieces of plump and crystal shrimp meat, which looks particularly tempting. The classic cheese-lobster combination exudes a unique fragrance. The extremely delicious lobster porridge not only exudes a rolling aroma, but even the garlic vermicelli lobster that retains the original flavor is also appetizing. In addition to practicing and refining medicine, how can this man be so good at cooking? How can others live? Yu Zilman couldn't help shouting in her heart. Smelling the familiar tempting aroma, Kailing and Yu Tuang on the chairs stared straight, and even couldn't help swallowing their saliva. On the other side, Bai Luo, who is not convenient to show up because of the presence of outsiders, had already begun to enjoy the food happily. Seeing Yu Zilman standing there in a daze, Chen Wei asked, "What's wrong?" "Not to your taste, no, I'm just surprised." She shook her head, her tone still a little incredible. "Chen Wei, then try my cooking skills." Hearing this, Yu Zilman picked up a spoon and scooped a mouthful of steamed egg and ate it. Feeling the freshness and tenderness in her mouth, Yu Zilman's mouth corners slightly raised. "It's delicious, even better than the lobster I had at Shushan Mingayan." Chen Wei was slightly stunned. He had heard of the name of Shushan Mingayan. As the highest-ranked restaurant in Shushan City, it is said that any dinner there costs hundreds of thousands or even millions of star coins. It can be said that the money for a meal at Shushan Mingayan alone is enough for ordinary people to live a worry-free life for the rest of their lives. The main thing is that the ingredients are good, Chen Wei sighed. Delicious lobster meat like this is a little less, and I don't know if I will have the opportunity to go to Shuangjian's secret realm to grab the lava lobster meat again in the future. By the way, tomorrow is the test of the source star cultivation. Are you sure? Chen Wei asked curiously, watching Yu Zilman eating elegantly in front of him. If Yu Zilman's source star cultivation can pass the test, maybe they can go to Nanjiang province together to participate in the practical test of Zidin University, and then they will have a companion. Yu Zilman tucked her hair around her ears. Although I don't have your source star cultivation, I should be able to reach the minimum threshold of Zidin University with my current source star cultivation of the early second stage. The next morning, the source star test hall of Shushan No. 1 Middle School. Looking at the magnificent silver-white building and the long queue of candidates at the door, Chen Wei shook his head helplessly. How long will it take to get in? There is no way. The equipment that can accurately detect the source star cultivation of a Beastmaster is too precious. With the current technology, it is not possible to promote and apply it on a large scale. Among the Beastmaster high schools in Shushan City, only Shushan No. 1 Middle School has a test instrument. Yu Zilman sighed. Wang Zhichen wiped the sweat off his head. Fortunately we came early, otherwise we might have to wait until noon to complete the test. As time passed slowly, the number of candidates in front of Chen Wei and his team became fewer and fewer. An hour later, they finally entered the hall. "Isn't that Wang Hongshuo from our class?" Old Wang pointed at the man on the podium who looked a little lost. Hearing this, Chen Wei looked curiously at the source star cultivation report displayed on the big screen in the distance. Source star purity 98.89%, source star cultivation, late first order, source star purity, D level, source star strength, C level, spiritual strength, D level, overall evaluation, D level. Seeing this scene, Old Wang suddenly became confident. Wang Hongshuo is usually so arrogant in class, but in the end, his source star cultivation is only late first order like me. It seems that he will go to the same beast taming university as me. Don't stand still after the test, follow the order of the team. Next one, the invigilator on the podium shouted loudly. The testing speed of this instrument is extremely fast. It only took a short while to test hundreds of candidates. Soon it was Wang Zhichen's turn in front of Chen Wei. Comprehensive evaluation, D+. It's actually one level higher than Wang Hongshuo's evaluation. Looking at the test report printed in his hand, Old Wang breathed a sigh of relief, and then looked at Chen Wei behind him curiously. He wanted to know how high his good brother, Chen Wei, who won the first place in the Hanyang Province beast taming competition, could get. Walking towards the source star test machine on the high platform, Chen Wei took out his admission ticket and swiped it under the machine. Ding! Candidate Chen Wei, please place your palm on the yellow crystal in front of you and input the source power with all your strength. The mechanical prompt sound suddenly sounded. Chen Wei placed his hand on the crystal according to the instructions, then slowly closed his eyes, and the majestic source power in his body suddenly poured out. Just like that, the dazzling light kept flashing on the surface of the crystal. Why is it so slow? Chen Wei looked at the machine in front of him in confusion. Before, other candidates had a conclusion in a few seconds, so why did it freeze when it was his turn? The Invigilator also encountered this situation for the first time. He looked at the source star detector nervously. How about you try again? Okay. Just when Chen Wei was about to try again, a dazzling orange light suddenly lit up on the big screen. Source star purity. 99.90%. Source star cultivation. Peak of the 3rd level. Source star purity. SS level. Source star strength. SSS level. Spiritual strength. SSS level. Comprehensive evaluation. SSS level. Seeing this, the Invigilator on the side widened his eyes, his face full of incredible expressions. SSS level. He has been the Invigilator of the Source Star in Shushan City for more than 5 years. During this period, let alone SSS level, he has not seen even an S-level candidate. Is he dreaming today? At this time, Yu Zilmin, who was closest to the screen, couldn't help but take a few steps back. She subconsciously covered her red lips that were slightly open because of shock with her hands, and her beautiful eyes were wide open. How is it possible? In less than half a year, he has been promoted from the 3rd level elementary to the 3rd level peak. Chapter 208 Jinhu University. It's actually SSS grade. With an unbelievable exclamation, the originally bustling test hall suddenly became silent. The next second, the atmosphere that had turned from lively to silent was broken by a series of discussions mixed with surprise and doubt. Hey, what did you just hear? It seems to be SSS grade. Impossible. I don't believe it. It's a lie. Could it be that the instrument is malfunctioning? The candidates in the hall focused their shocked eyes on Chen Wei and the large screen of the Yuanxing testing machine, and the expressions on their faces became extremely exciting when they saw Chen Wei's comprehensive evaluation clearly. Hiss, it's really SSS grade. Someone in the crowd suddenly took a breath of cold air, and the sound of the breath was particularly obvious in the silent hall. Is it completely impossible to catch up? Wang Hongshuo stared at the shocking words on the screen with a complicated expression. After all, he had been defeated miserably by Chen Wei, and it was impossible to say that there was no regret and unwillingness in his heart. However, when he heard that Chen Wei won the 1st place in the Hanyang province beast taming competition, he put aside his jealousy and pursuit. The reason was simple: the gap was too big. Fuck, this is my brother, Wang Zichen murmured in a low voice with pride. The sudden appearance of an SSS-level Beastmaster among a group of Beastmasters with a comprehensive evaluation of only C to D levels in Yuanxing can be imagined. The Invigilator, who came to his senses, looked at Chen Wei deeply, and his tone seemed to be a little trembling. Next, hearing this, Yu Zilman's eyes turned slightly, suppressing the complicated thoughts that suddenly popped up in her mind, and then walked up to the high platform with elegant steps. With a graceful and tall figure and a long fluttering skirt, Yu Zilman, who looked cool and elegant, attracted the attention of many candidates as soon as she stepped on the stage, including many cute female classmates. As expected of Yu Zilman, this charm is simply a killer for both men and women, Chen Wei said in his heart. Then, he ignored the hot eyes around him and focused his attention on the big screen. The actual combat assessment of the 5 major universities in Donghu is extremely valuable. In addition to the theoretical examination scores that must reach the admission score, the comprehensive evaluation of the source star cultivation must at least reach B level, source star purity. 99.27%, source star cultivation, early stage of 2nd stage, source star purity, B level, source star strength, B level, spiritual strength, A level, comprehensive evaluation, B+ level spiritual strength is A level. It seems that like me, Yu Zilman also chose the source star strengthening route based on mental strength, Chen Wei thought to himself. Yes, with Yu Zilman's persistence in the cold jade snake, if she wants to successfully contract the cold jade snake, the best way is to improve her mental strength. Yu Zilman slowly walked to Chen Wei's side under the surprised eyes of everyone and said softly, "Let's go." After the source star cultivation test was completed, ignoring the commotion in the hall, Chen Wei and the other 2 came to a restaurant near number 1 middle school and started eating. The knife fish and snake soup in this restaurant are unique. Do you want to try them? Old Wang picked up the menu and started ordering. Chen Wei said indifferently, "Just order a few special dishes." Hearing this, Yu Zilman's delicate face showed some disgust. "Just order 2 servings of snake soup, I won't need it." Although she herself doesn't eat this kind of food, she won't force others to do the same. Instead, Kei Ling, who was perched on Chen Wei's wrist, became interested. She touched the skin of the Beastmaster with the tip of her tail. Greek letter psi, Greek letter psi, what snake? Looking at Kei Ling with tears flowing from the corners of her mouth, Chen Wei said helplessly, "Old Wang, 2 servings of snake soup." He had no appetite for this thing, but he could give 1 serving to the curious Kei Ling. At this moment, Yu Zilman, who was full of thoughts, couldn't help but glance at Chen Wei beside her. If she didn't know that cultivation was an extremely private matter for Beastmasters, she would even want to ask Chen Wei how he could cultivate so fast. Sensing Yu Zilman's gaze, Chen Wei asked in confusion, "What's wrong?" The school has announced that the actual combat assessment of the Beastmaster University will start on June 20th this year. Our goal is Rosewood University. Do you want to go together then? Yu Zilman said. Okay, Chen Wei nodded slightly. Yu Zilman, because of the actual combat assessment, Rosewood University will be open to the public after the 15th. We'd better go there in advance to prepare, then let's go tomorrow. As soon as the voice fell, Chen Wei picked up a piece of knife fish and put it in his mouth, frowning slightly. This dish not only has a lot of seasoning, but the taste of the fish itself is also quite ordinary, not even spiritual fish. In short, it's not unpalatable, but it doesn't belong to the category of delicious. Well, then let's meet at Shushan Station at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Forget it, my goal is Hanyang University. Facing the gazes of the two, Lao Wang waved his hand. With a college entrance examination in front of him, he would not go to the extremely distant Nanjiang province for tourism. On the other side, looking at the steaming snake soup that had just been served, Kei Ling's eyes lit up and she quickly tasted it. The next second, a look of disgust appeared on her face. Not delicious. At this time, Nanjiang province, which was very far away from Shushan city, was still spreading the influence left by Chen Wei in the morning. As the creator of the Yuanxing detection machine, the admissions department of Jinhua University received this amazing news at the first time. Minister Wang, a genius with a comprehensive evaluation of SSS level, appeared in Shushan city, Hanyang province. Looking at the latest news displayed on the screen, Teacher Li of the admissions department knocked on the door of the superior's office at the first time. Both parents died, and the genius Beastmaster from an ordinary family, the initial pet is the commander-level Kongming Shuangjiao, and has a deep friendship with Liu Menging, a graduate of Zhejiang University. Looking at the detailed information given by his subordinates, a man in his 40s with an elegant temperament subconsciously raised his hand and rubbed his temple. Is it the seedling reserved by Zhejiang University? He asked in a deep voice. Yes, according to the news, Chen Wei's first choice is Rosewood University, Teacher Li responded seriously. Every year, when the Beastmen college entrance examination begins, the 5 famous schools in Donghua compete for talent resources. A talented Beastman like Chen Wei, who has a clean family background and won the first place in the Hanyang Provincial Beastmen competition, has long been in the side of the admissions department of the 5 major schools in Donghua. However, the title of ranking first in the provincial competition is not enough for the 5 major schools in Donghua to put down their face and compete. At best, they put Chen Wei on the list of new beastmen worthy of attention. But if Chen Wei wants to take the initiative to apply to enter the 5 major schools, it is more than enough to obtain the qualification of a recommended student. Chapter 209 Overlord Armor. That is to say, in their eyes, although Chen Wei, who won the first place in the competition, is extremely talented, he is only above average in the 5 major universities of Donghua, which are full of talents and geniuses. The other 4 major universities are not willing to lose face and take the initiative to recruit Chen Wei, who has a close relationship with Zhejiang University, and thus break the tacit rules. But if Chen Wei takes the initiative to apply, the 4 major universities will not miss such an excellent new Beastmaster, and they will even be happy to admit him. But there are always exceptions. SSS-level talents are definitely worth losing face to fight for the 5 major universities of Donghua. A Beastmaster who has cultivated the Source Star to the peak of the 3rd level at the age of 19 is a rare genius even in the 5 major universities of Donghua. Such a genius will not be missed even by Jinhua University. Take the initiative to contact Chen Wei. As long as he agrees to enter Jinhua University, he can choose either a king-level cub or a king-level mecha. Even a 7th level source device can be discussed. After a moment of silence, Minister Wang added with some concern, if he still doesn't agree, you can tell him about the quota for the Overlord Mecha that we are researching at Jinhua University. Hearing this, Teacher Li's pupils shrank. The so-called Overlord Mecha is a mechanical armor with combat power that is enough to rival the 7th level Overlord, or it can be said to be a man-made mechanical pet. Although she is only a teacher in the admissions department, she also knows that the new Overlord Mecha that Jinhua University is currently developing independently has entered the final stage. Each quota for the Overlord Mecha is extremely precious, and even the king-level Beastmaster in the school cannot get a quota. I didn't expect Minister Wang to be willing to give a quota. Teacher Li, who is envious in his heart, quickly responded, understood, I will contact now. At the same time, although the remaining 4 famous schools in Donghua were a little slower, they still received news that a SSS-level new Beastmaster appeared in Shushan City. So, a new round of competition officially began. They all sent teachers from the admissions department to compete for talents. On the other side, the admissions department of Zidian University. Minister Luo, according to the news I received, Jinhua, Lishu, Chihuahua and Genshin universities have all made their moves on Chen Wei. Chen Wei, an intellectual woman wearing gold-rimmed glasses and a black woolen coat, asked in confusion. Luo Qing, the director of the admissions department of Zidian University, a king-level Beastmaster, and also a famous master-level alchemist. It's Chen Wei that Director Han asked us to pay attention to, the petite girl reminded. Luo Qing was slightly startled, and soon recalled what Director Han had told us. What's going on? Why has Chen Wei suddenly become so popular? Luo Qing's eyes became serious. If the talents that Director Han had told us to take away were snatched away by the other 4, it would be their dereliction of duty. Minister, this is the specific information. The girl weakly put the documents in her hand on the table. Picking up the documents on the table, Luo Qing quickly browsed through them, then picked up the phone and quickly dialed a number to ask for instructions. Beep beep. After a few dozen seconds, the call was connected. Luo Qing, what's the matter? A crisp voice came from the other end of the phone. Luo Qing looked a little solemn. Director Han, Chen Wei, whom you asked us to pay attention to, has been targeted by the other 4. Oh, what's the reason? Chen Wei's comprehensive evaluation of the Source Star test is SSS level. As soon as the voice fell, Luo Qing quietly waited for instructions from his superiors. Is that all? Hearing this, Luo Qing was slightly stunned, and then replied, yes, then don't worry about it. Looking at the hung-up phone in her hand, Luo Qing couldn't help but widen her eyes. What's going on? Such a once-in-a-lifetime genius is just left alone. After taking a deep breath and calming down her inner confusion, she glanced at the confused girl in front of her, and said in a calm tone, you don't have to worry about this matter, okay? The girl nodded slightly, and then left the office. After a moment of silence, Luo Qing tilted his head to look at the blue sky outside the window, thinking to himself, strange, this reaction is completely different from Director Han's usual domineering personality. What's going on? June 14th, 7:30 in the morning, Shushan City Suspension Train Terminal. Chen Wei sat in the crowded waiting hall and yawned listlessly. Except for the days of the college entrance examination, in recent months, he either used the power of the dragon to strengthen his pet every day, or stayed up late to grind for high-level dragon crystals, and felt that his body was much weaker. Fortunately, hard work pays off. During this period, he has grinded out a total of 4 high-level dragon crystals. Last night, he only used 2 to raise K-Ling's strength from the 3rd level middle to the 3rd level upper. But unfortunately, K-Ling's luck doesn't seem to be very good recently. Although it is the 5th level awakening probability, the 2 high-level dragon crystals she swallowed did not awaken new dragon skills. On the contrary, her long-practiced dragon evolutionary skill, calling wind and rain, was upgraded from proficiency to mastery after the irrigation of a medicinal field last night. This even made Chen Wei begin to suspect that in addition to the role of awakening dragon skills, high-level dragon crystals may also have the ability to improve the mastery of skills, but this is just his guess and cannot be taken seriously for the time being. After all, his identification talent did not identify such an effect on high-level dragon crystals. However, after mastering the mastery level of calling wind and rain, K-Ling has actually reached the minimum requirement for autonomous evolution. However, after browsing the Ice and Fire experiment report, Chen Wei, who had a plan in mind, did not intend to let K-Ling evolve in advance. After all, The mastery level of calling wind and rain alone is not enough for Keiling to control the high-level beast resources she has. According to Chen Wei's expectation, at least the perfect level of calling wind and rain can guarantee the safety of Keiling's evolution to the greatest extent. Sorry for the wait, a clear female voice came. Chen Wei looked up and saw a girl wearing a snow-white dress, with a temperament like a pure snow lotus. A flash of surprise flashed in his eyes, and then he looked at the two expressionless burly men behind Yu Zilman and asked in confusion, "Who is this?" "Because the journey is long, the family sent bodyguards," Yu Zilman explained. "I see, let's go." Chen Wei stood up from his seat and looked in the direction of the entrance. 10 minutes later, the long dragon-like suspension train departed from Shushan Station and rushed towards Longqing City at lightning speed. Sitting next to Yu Zilman, smelling the aroma of cosmetics or natural body fragrance, Chen Wei glanced at the two bodyguards sitting in front and behind them. An elite beastmaster and a master beastmaster. It seems that the basic safety guarantee for this journey is in place. Chen Wei silently gave Yu Zilman a thumbs up in his heart. Thanks to book friend 202105281819524416 for the reward of 100 Kidian coins. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210 Rejection of Jinhui. On the suspended train, Chen Wei took out his mobile phone and looked at it. As expected, the screen showed a large number of missed calls and friend requests, and the number of unread messages on QQ reached 999 plus. Since his source star cultivation was detected as SSS level yesterday morning, his mobile phone has not been quiet, and calls from major beast control schools have been endless. Among them, the price offered by the admissions departments of Jinhui University and Shihuang University is the most attractive, while the admissions department of Zidian University has been silent. Does this think they have me? Chen Wei thought to himself, holding the phone in his right hand. Last night, after he clearly rejected several times, the admissions teachers of Jinhui University and Shihuang University still chose to continue to call to fight for it. However, Keiling's promotion is crucial. In order to avoid being affected, he turned off his mobile phone last night and planned to let the bullet fly for a while. After all, Chen Wei knew very well that the reason why he was favored by so many beast control universities now was ultimately because of his source star cultivation talent and his actual combat ability that won the first place in the provincial beast control competition. If he could win the first place in the practical test of Rosewood University next, the price offered by the other four universities would definitely be higher. Even Rosewood University, which had been silent, would pay more attention to him and offer a higher price. Otherwise, if the candidate who won the first place in the practical test of Rosewood University turned to the arms of the other four famous universities, where would the face of Rosewood University be? In the final analysis, although the price offered by the other four universities was higher than that of Rosewood University, which had been silent, Chen Wei still preferred Rosewood University, which was famous for its alchemy department. What's wrong? You look so tangled, Yu Zilman, who was sitting next to him, asked curiously. Chen Wei put away his phone and shook his head. Nothing, some insignificant troubles. As a friend, he couldn't say in front of Yu Zilman that he was troubled by being fought over by the five major universities in Donghu. After all, judging from Yu Zilman's current situation, her chances of being admitted to the five major universities in Donghu were extremely slim, unless she could get a good score in the practical test. If he chose to tell the truth in front of her, Chen Wei felt that such behavior was more like showing off, or being in Versailles, so it would be better not to say it. At this moment, his mobile phone began to vibrate. Buzz buzz buzz, Chen Wei pursed his lips. Wow, a call came in just 10 seconds after turning on the phone. Yu Zilman subconsciously looked at Chen Wei's pocket. There was a trace of helplessness on his face, and the corners of his mouth raised a little arc, and asked, "Don't answer it." Although Chen Wei didn't say it directly, she was always smart and vaguely realized why Chen Wei was troubled, and a trace of inexplicable pride rose in her heart. As Chen Wei's friend and the first discoverer of his talent, Chen Wei could achieve such an achievement. Yu Zilman couldn't help but feel proud of her vision, and even proud of it. Sure enough, it's Jinhui University again. Taking out the mobile phone. Looking at the caller information displayed on the screen, It was Teacher Li from the admissions department of Jinhu University. Chen Wei's eyes flashed with a hint of understanding and gratitude, and then chose to answer the call. Student Chen Wei, have you considered it? Sorry, Mr. Li, I still want to apply for Zidin University. Today is different from the past. Chen Wei has already decided on his goal in his heart, and he will not change his plan because of a king cub. Student Chen, have you heard of the Overlord Mecha? Hearing this, Chen Wei's pupils shrank. Could it be that Jinhu University is willing to give him an Overlord Mecha? Are you talking about a mecha-armed life form popular in the Saint European Alliance? Well, as long as you enter Jinhu University, you will have the opportunity to contract a 7th-level Overlord Mecha weapon. Chen Wei couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and for a moment he was stunned by the big cake drawn by Jinhu University. Although he didn't know the details of the Overlord Mecha, he also knew that the cost of the Overlord Mecha was extremely expensive, and it was even rarer than the Overlord pet cubs of the same level. Moreover, unlike the pet cubs, the Overlord Mecha is already at the 7th level of strength when it is built. It does not need to go through a long cultivation period to communicate with the Beastmaster. It can even be upgraded and optimized through the smart chip, thereby greatly improving its strength. No, how can such a mecha with the combat power of an Overlord be given to a freshman casually? Thinking of this, Chen Wei took a deep breath and asked, what are the specific conditions to contract such a mecha? As long as you get the first place in the practical assessment of Jinhu University next, and win the championship in the future National College Beast Taming competition, this championship can be either a single or a team championship. On the other side of the phone, Teacher Li smiled silently. She had previously recruited 2 monsters for Jinhu University through this extremely tempting condition, and she didn't believe that Chen Wei could refuse. As for whether Chen Wei could get the mecha quota as he wished, it would depend on his own strength. Hearing this, Chen Wei was silent. This was not because he had no confidence. On the contrary, he felt that he had a chance to complete the conditions set by Jinhu University, but it was because of this that he fell into hesitation. Is it necessary to make enemies with my master who I have never met and Liu Menging who has always helped me because of a set of Overlord Mecha? Chen Wei was tangled. Huh? Sorry, Teacher Li, I still stick to my own ideas, Chen Wei refused firmly. What about the Overlord Mecha? He believed that his future would never stop at the Overlord. As the saying goes, a promise is worth 1,000 gold, and he would not break the promise he made with Liu Menging for the qualification of a set of Overlord Mecha. But as soon as he said this, Chen Wei still felt his heart bleeding. What a loss. If I had known that the treatment of the 5 major universities in Donghu was so high, I should not have been bribed by a Chixian's Hentu. I understand. Teacher Li hung up the phone and sighed. How should I explain to the superiors later? She had given her greatest sincerity, but in the end she still failed to persuade Chen Wei. This boy is really extraordinary. Seeing that Chen Wei had finally finished talking about a matter, Yu Zilman on the side smiled and said, is this what has been bothering you these past 2 days? Yes. Chen Wei put away his phone and couldn't help but tilt his head to look at the scenery passing by quickly outside the window. Although there was still a trace of regret in his heart, as a top Beast Taming University, he really didn't believe that Zidin University would treat a beast taming genius like him badly. An hour later, the speed of the train began to slow down. This train is about to arrive at Longqing Station. Passengers who want to get off, please be ready. Chapter 211 Rosewood University. After arriving in Longqing City, they only need to take 6 city teleportation arrays in a row to quickly reach Zidin City in Nanjiang Province. However, Yu Zilman's current source star cultivation cannot withstand the pressure caused by the city teleportation array, so they chose to take a plane. If the queuing time in each city is taken into account, the time spent using the teleportation array is actually not much faster than the plane, and the plane ride environment is also comfortable. It only takes 5 hours to reach Zidin City. With Yu Zilman by his side, Chen Wei did not feel bored on the way. As time passed quickly, a magnificent city soon came into his sight. Zidin Airport. After getting off the plane, Chen Wei and Yu Zilman, who were unfamiliar with the place, stopped a taxi on the road and went directly to Zidin University. We are here. This is the North Campus of Zidin University, the driver said. In the distance, near the teaching building, a towering ancient tree with a diameter of about tens of meters and a height of 500 or 600 meters, with pinnate leaves, was standing proudly. With a breeze blowing, the verdant red sandalwood leaves are swaying slightly, exuding a unique and refreshing fragrance. Chen Wei just sniffed it lightly, and he felt relaxed, as if his soul was purified a lot. "Is this the red sandalwood sacred tree?" Yu Zilman murmured with a longing look. It is said that the red sandalwood sacred tree is an 8th-level spiritual tree planted by the founder of Red Sandalwood University, the legendary medicine saint, and it has been more than 1,600 years old. As the symbol of Red Sandalwood University, the red sandalwood sacred tree is full of treasures. Even a piece of red sandalwood leaf used to make tea can cleanse the mind of the Beastmaster and increase the slight's spiritual power. If you practice under the red sandalwood sacred tree, it can increase the speed of the Beastmaster's Source Star practice, and even the probability of the Source Star breaking through and advancing. Thinking of these rumors, a trace of curiosity flashed in Chen Wei's eyes, and he activated his perspective eyes. Red sandalwood sacred tree, a legendary spiritual tree with 8-level wood and spirit, it is a symbol of spirituality and spirit. This spiritual tree blooms once every 300 years and bears fruit once every 300 years. After taking the red sandalwood flower, the probability of a Beastmaster pet breaking through the 7th level epic by 3 points can be increased. After taking the red sandalwood fruit, the probability of a Beastmaster pet breaking through the 8th level legend by 3 points can be increased. Good fellow, such a precious sacred tree is planted openly on campus. Aren't you afraid that students and visitors passing by will take advantage of it? Chen Wei looked at the delicate and beautiful red sandalwood petals, and his eyes were filled with a bit of fiery color. Let's go in and take a look." Seeing Chen Wei standing there in a daze, Yu Zilman turned back subconsciously and said. Walking into the gate and feeling the rich source energy on campus, Chen Wei secretly marveled in his heart. It is worthy of being Red Sandalwood University. The concentration of source energy around is almost as high as that of the 3rd-level secret realm. At this time, the young man and woman standing at the entrance came up. "Sorry. You need to register your identity documents to enter Red Sandalwood University for a visit." Chen Wei and Yu Zilman looked at each other and took out their Beastmaster badges at the same time. Intermediate Beast Tamer, the registration senior, looked at Chen Wei in surprise and said in a natural tone, "It's okay. Except for some closed training venues and treasure houses that are not allowed to enter, the battle venues and teaching buildings of Rosewood University are open to the public." "I wanted to try the training room of Rosewood University," Yu Zilman said with some regret. "If you are not allowed to enter here, let's go to another place." Looking at the heavily guarded guards in front, Chen Wei said helplessly. Next, Chen Wei and Yu Zilman changed direction and walked forward. As a result, they came to an open-air battle venue with a large crowd of people. "Classmate, do you want to have a fierce battle?" A sexy black-haired girl with a hot body came forward to invite. Yu Zilman subconsciously glanced at Chen Wei beside her, then shook her head. "No thanks." Seeing this, the girl turned her gaze to Chen Wei. Her clear and beautiful eyes were full of enthusiasm. "Classmate, what about you? Do you want to have a fight?" Chen Wei's eyes were filled with expectation. "May I ask what is the strength of your pet?" 2nd level lower elite. The girl looked confident. Hearing this, Chen Wei was stunned for a moment, and the expectation in his heart disappeared immediately. "Sorry, it's not suitable." "What a joke. The strength gap is too big. Even if I can knock down a 2nd level lower elite pet with one punch, it will not serve as a training for Yutong, who is in the middle of the 2nd level." "Okay." The girl looked at Chen Wei deeply, then turned around and left, but she seemed unwilling to give up halfway, and turned back to Chen Wei and asked, "What is the strength of your initial pet?" Looking at the faint smile on Yu Zilman's face beside him, Chen Wei hesitated for a moment and said truthfully, 3rd level upper commander." Hearing this, the girl carefully looked at the boy in front of her and found that he was not a familiar face. So she pursed her lips, her pretty face slightly red, and covered her mouth with her hands as if she was trying to hold back a laugh, but in the end she couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Okay, I understand. A great master who has reached the 3rd level." Looking at the trembling back of the girl after she turned and left, Chen Wei was a little speechless. Chen Wei tilted his head to look at Yu Zilman beside him, and found that she was also smiling. So Chen Wei asked in some confusion, "Does she think I'm joking? Why is she laughing like that?" "Maybe she thinks you're too exaggerated." "A great master who has reached the 3rd level," Yu Zilman teased. "Why is it that even you're like this?" Chen Wei sighed helplessly. "What about sincerity between people? These days, no one even believes in telling the truth, right? Let's stop here today. Shall we go have a meal first?" Yu Zilman turned and looked at the beautiful sunset in the sky, with a hint of expectation on her face. I have something to do later, how about I treat you tomorrow at noon? Chen Wei remembered Sister Mu Ning's instructions and tactfully refused. Do you need my help? Yu Zilman stared at him closely. Chen Wei, no, I just want to meet a senior who has an appointment. Yu Zilman raised her eyebrows and breathed a sigh of relief. Then I'll go first. Then, the star ring on Chen Wei's finger flashed, and a business card appeared in his hand. It's time to leave, Villa number 2 in Rosewood Garden. Looking at the address on the business card, Chen Wei's face couldn't help but become a little more nervous and excited, and then he tilted his head to look at the luxurious villa complex not far from Rosewood University. That is the residence of Han Jiao, the director of the alchemy department of Rosewood University, a master-level alchemist, a well-known boss in the alchemy world, and a world-renowned epic powerhouse. Remember, when you see the teacher, you must have a proper attitude. The teacher doesn't like frivolous students the most. Thinking of Sister Mu Ning's advice, the image of a serious old lady suddenly appeared in Chen Wei's mind. It seems that I have to pay attention to my manners later. Chapter 212 Hanjiao. Rosewood Garden is a villa complex built on the mountain, covering a vast area. The source energy is rich inside, and you can also smell the fragrance of the rosewood sacred tree. It is an excellent place for beast masters to practice. Therefore, it is widely sought after by teachers and students of Rosewood University. Most of the beast masters who can live here are either rich or noble. Chen Wei looked up and saw a luxuriously decorated 3-story villa in the distance. Verdant bamboos were standing proudly along the cobblestone path in an orderly manner. At the end of the path was an elegant and simple gate. It's here, Villa number 2 in Rosewood Garden. After confirming the location, Chen Wei checked the time on his mobile phone and rang the doorbell. Not long after, the magnificent door opened automatically, and a petite girl, about 1.4 meters tall, wearing a black coat, with scattered silver hair falling vertically to her waist like a waterfall, walked out. On her oval face were willow-like eyebrows, and a pair of clear and beautiful eyes were like gorgeous blue gems, with an exceptionally cool temperament. She looks so young. Is this Teacher Han's daughter? Chen Wei looked at the immature little girl in front of him, and his originally nervous mood suddenly disappeared a lot. He subconsciously squatted down, looked into the curious eyes of the little girl, and then said softly, "Hello, little friend, is Senior Han at home now?" Chen Wei was a little puzzled. Obviously, Sister Mu Ning had already agreed to meet with Teacher Han in advance, so why was there only one little girl out now? Could it be that she is still refining the medicine? Thinking of this, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with joy. The elixir that Teacher Han could refine must be extraordinary. If he could watch from the side, maybe his perspective eyes could be further improved through the elixir energy nurtured after the elixir was refined. Are you Chen Wei? The little girl glanced at Chen Wei with an indifferent expression. The next second, Chen Wei was horrified to find that it was just a glance. An extremely terrifying spirit suddenly swept out from the little girl's petite body. His body seemed to be frozen at this moment and could not move. Even blinking his eyes was a luxury. I am not my opponent at all. Run away. At this time, Chen Wei's brain seemed to sense that a dangerous feeling that was difficult to stop and even impossible to resist was spreading wildly in his body. Under such stimulation, Chen Wei's mental power suddenly broke out. Fortunately, this feeling did not last long. It was only a moment, and the little girl withdrew her gaze from him. Come in. The little girl turned and went into the house, and then through the sentence. Looking at the little girl's back, who looked like an ordinary person and had no aura of a strong person, Chen Wei, whose clothes were wet with cold sweat, couldn't help but smile bitterly. It's over. What, Teacher Han's daughter? This is clearly Teacher Han himself. Chen Wei felt a blockage in his heart. He called Teacher Han, whom he had never met, a little friend as soon as they met. Is this what Sister Mu Ning said about frivolity? Inside the villa, smelling the faint fragrance of the surrounding spiritual plants, Chen Wei felt a little confused. With Mr. Han's level of alchemy, why would he change his appearance and figure into that of a 12 or 13-year-old girl? This behavior is a bit too strange. Is there something unspeakable? You are Chen Wei, right? Seeing the handsome boy in front of him in a trance, Han Jiao repeated it again. Yes, Mr. Han. Chen Wei suppressed his embarrassment and nodded with a forced smile. Confirming that it was a talent introduced by his disciple, Han Jiao continued, Mu Ning mentioned it to me several times. I heard that you want to become an excellent alchemist. The highlight is here. Chen Wei did not hide his thoughts and answered truthfully, yes, this is my goal. In front of such an old and powerful person, lying is meaningless and may even lower his own evaluation. You have great talent and potential. If you focus on the path of being a Beastmaster, the chance of becoming a legend may be slim, but the hope of becoming an epic master is not small. If you also take into account refining medicine, there may be no hope of becoming an epic master. Are you sure you want to do two things at the same time? Hanji Iao picked up the teapot and poured 2 cups of hot tea. Hearing this, Chen Wei was silent. To be honest, he wanted to become an alchemist purely because of the respected status of alchemists. Even if there were disasters such as alien beasts attacking the city, it would basically not be the turn of the alchemists to go to the battlefield. They only needed to provide support by refining pills in the rear, and they could also obtain a lot of resources for cultivating pets. If it were an ordinary beastmaster, there would be no strong family support behind him. The resources for cultivating pets could only be earned by risking his life and struggling, and his life would always be on the edge of a knife. This was not the life Chen Wei wanted. After all, he could not only become stronger while refining pills, but also obtain a lot of beast resources. This growth path was definitely suitable for his future development. Yes, I want to be an excellent alchemist. Please teach me, Chen Wei said seriously. Hanji Iao took a sip of tea and asked, what do you think is the most important thing for an alchemist? Chen Wei thought about it, and then said without hesitation, sufficient knowledge reserves, strong mental control ability, and medicinal flames that can melt everything. Not bad. Hanji Iao nodded slightly. Although she was not very satisfied with this conventional answer, according to the test she had conducted before, the young man's magnificent mental power was indeed qualified to be an excellent alchemist. In Hanji Iao's opinion, an excellent alchemist must at least be a 6-star alchemist, that is, a master alchemist. She put the teacup in her hand on the table and said in a relaxed tone, very good, from today you are my 9th direct disciple, Hanji Iao. Hearing this, Chen Wei showed a touch of joy that was hard to conceal. Thank you, teacher. This surprise came a little unexpectedly. Because of the small mistake he made before, he had prepared himself for failure, but he didn't expect to achieve his ultimate goal so easily. Sensing the surprise and gratitude in Chen Wei's words, Hanji Iao smiled with relief, although this mature and steady smile looked a little strange on her young face. No need for some formalities. Hanji Iao stood up. Follow me, I have prepared a gift for you. Seeing this, Chen Wei hurriedly followed. After following Teacher Han through a moon gate emitting a faint silver light, Chen Wei felt a flash in front of his eyes. And the surrounding scenery changed quietly in an instant, and the fragrance of the spiritual plants slowly drifted into his nose. Chapter 213, Han Shi's Treasure House. The moist and warm breeze blew gently, lifting up the lush and attractive spiritual leaves. The source power here is several times more powerful than that of the Shuangjian secret realm. Is this a wild level secret realm or a flood level secret realm? Feeling the amazingly rich source power around him, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with surprise. This is my secret realm space. I usually use it to cultivate some rare and precious herbs and some rare birds and beasts, and occasionally store some high-level source tools. Hanji Iao took the initiative to introduce. As my direct disciple, you can choose 2 treasures you want and can take away from this secret realm. As long as you're capable enough, you can take away any high-level spiritual medicine or pet cubs. Don't worry, this is a gift. After entering, seeing the hesitation on Chen Wei's face, Hanji Iao continued to add. For example, the senior sister Liu Menging has also chosen here twice. As long as I recognize and accept the direct disciple, I will give you 2 opportunities to choose treasures. This is not only my encouragement to you, but also a test for you. Test, Chen Wei murmured. That's right. The rare spiritual medicines planted here need to be picked safely using a specific method. The pet cubs that live and reproduce here also have their own unique personalities. The contract is extremely difficult. Even the high-level source instruments I placed have various usage requirements. If ordinary beastmasters get them, they will be completely unable to use them. Do you understand? At this point, Hanji Iao's eyes showed a hint of expectation. She wanted to know how many treasures Chen Wei could take away from her secret space. Thank you, teacher. Chen Wei nodded and thanked him. Don't be so polite. If you are unlucky, you may not be able to take even 1 treasure away. Hanji Iao waved her hand with an excited smile on her face. Teacher, can I know how many treasures Sister Mu Ning took away at the time? Chen Wei asked. Only 1. Hearing this, Chen Wei glanced around and found that they should be on the hillside of a small hill, surrounded by lush 1,000-year-old trees. Teacher, are there time limits for these 2 chances? Han Jiao glanced at her exquisite watch. I have something to deal with later, so I can only give you 3 hours at most. Okay, time is running out. You should go treasure hunting, she reminded. At this time, walking slowly along the winding mountain road, Chen Wei felt that his horizons had broadened a lot. Walking from the mountainside to the foot of the mountain, he encountered many rare treasures that he had never heard of or seen before, so that he had not used a single chance until now. The reason is simple, because there are so many treasures here. There are many high-level spiritual plants growing on the fertile land, among which the lowest level spiritual plant he encountered is the fragrant beast grass. Fragrant beast grass, a level 5 wood-based beast resource. After eating, pets can significantly increase their desire to reproduce, and the offspring born from this will have a 50% probability of inheriting the advantages of both parents, thus breeding pet cubs with more superior potential. Yes, that's right. Chen Wei hadn't seen even a single level 4 spiritual plant along the way. The lowest level spiritual plant he had seen was a level 5 spiritual plant. Not only spiritual plants, but also pets. In the distance, a huge male lion with the golden hair all over his body, bright eyes like 2 rubies, and a pair of flames on his back was strolling on the grassland with 2 golden lion cubs. Even if he noticed Chen Wei's gaze, the winged flame golden lion just glanced at Han Jiao beside him and didn't care at all. Pet name, winged flame golden lion. Pet attributes, fire, gold, racial level, brilliant king, strength level, lower level 6, potential level, Zhuan level upper grade, racial skills, winged flame, golden lion Yangian, extreme golden light. Wow, there are even king level pet cubs. Looking at the small golden lion in the distance, Chen Wei showed a surprised look on his face. Han Jiao had been observing his new disciple. Seeing the light golden glow in Chen Wei's eyes, he was thinking, interesting, could this be the extremely rare talent of the abnormal spiritual eyes that Mu Ning mentioned? Are there no spiritual medicines or pet cubs you want along the way? Han Jiao couldn't help but ask when he found that Chen Wei had not made up his mind. With the treasures in his secret space, let alone the king-level Beastmaster, even the general epic-level Beastmaster would be tempted. It must be said that Han Jiao was a little surprised and even a little satisfied with Chen Wei's always stable mentality. Teacher, are there any dragon resources nearby? Chen Wei asked softly. Although the resources here are very precious, he still prefers dragon-type beast resources. After all, in addition to the resources of time and space, dragon resources are the most precious of all beast resources. Of course, thinking of Chen Wei's conquering frost dragon, Han Jiao raised a slight arc at the corner of his mouth. Since you want to increase the difficulty, don't blame me for making you miss 2 chances. Han Jiao snapped his fingers, and the surrounding scenery suddenly changed like the stars shifting. Chen Wei felt that the dragon controlling power in his body began to fluctuate violently. Following the induction, Chen Wei looked at the 3 pots of spiritual plants on the high platform of the stone chamber in the distance, and couldn't help but widen his eyes. It turned out to be dragon star grass, ice and fire dragon beard fruit, and 3-leaf dragon dusk flower, dragon star grass, a level 7 dragon and star dual system resource. Only in the place where the star dragon fell and the place where the starlight of the 7 stars in the east shines all year round, there is a certain probability that the top star grass will be born. After the real dragon absorbs and refines it, the growth period can be greatly shortened, and there is a certain probability that the swallowed real dragon will obtain the star dragon body. It can also be used as the main material for the evolution of the galaxy real dragon, ice and fire dragon beard fruit, a rare resource of the 7th level of ice, fire, and dragon. Even if a real dragon swallows it directly, it will be killed by the ice and fire poison contained in it. It cannot be refined and used by real dragons other than those of the ice and fire dual system. After being fully refined, it can make a real dragon reborn, and there is even a certain chance that it will transform into legendary real dragon. It can also be used as the main material of the ice and fire nirvana pill, 3-leaf dragon dusk flower, a 7th level dark and dragon dual system resource. Dragon dusk flower can only be bred in places where a large number of dragons die and there are black scale dark marrow veins nearby. It can transform dead pets into epic overlord races, death dusk dragons. The higher the race of the dead pet, the higher the success rate. Seeing Chen Wei's eyes fixed on the rare spiritual plants that he had cultivated with great effort, Hanjiao couldn't help but smile slightly. How about it? As long as you can tell the correct way to pick them, you can take 2 of the 3 spiritual plants away. A tempting crisp voice suddenly rang out in the silent stone room. Chapter 214 Treasures in Hand. Although these 3 spiritual plants are only level 7 beast control resources, they are so valued by Hanjiao that their extraordinary and preciousness can be imagined. Especially the 2 level 7 top-grade spiritual medicines, the Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit and the 3-leaf Dragon Dusk Flower, are even more valuable than some priceless level 8 legendary resources. The Ice and Fire Nirvana Pill, which is made from the Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit as the main material, is a level 7 top-grade elixir that many epic beast control masters dream of. Just 1 pill is enough for an epic master to forge a strong golden body with perfect spirit and body. Not only can the user extend his life by 50 years, but he can also increase the probability of breaking through to the level 8 legend by 3 points. The epic overlord race bred by the 3-leaf Dragon Dusk Flower, the Death Dusk Dragon, is a high-level dark true dragon. Depending on the level of the pet beast that died, the resulting death dragon will be different, but there is one thing in common: all dragons will have a pair of iconic death eyes and dark wings that cover everything. It is said that the dragon eyes of the death dragon can see the end of all things and death, and even the epic beast master cannot match it. If the death dragon is bred with the complete remains of the legendary true dragon, it is the real king of the true dragon, and it can be said to be one of the top existences, even among the epic overlord races. Hanjiao showed an interested smile on her face and asked Chen Wei, "Which one do you want to choose, or not choose any of them?" These 3 unique and rare spiritual medicines can only be known by the Grandmaster Alchemist of the same level as her, and even the Master Alchemist may not know how to pick them. What's more, Chen Wei is a new beast master who has not systematically studied the knowledge of alchemists and has embarked on the path of alchemists halfway. If you have the strength, then go forward, otherwise retreat, and do what you can. Hanjiao wanted to know what choice his new disciple would make when faced with a huge temptation. This was also a way to understand his disciple. Chen Wei stared at the Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit. "I want this Dragon Beard Fruit." "Very good, as long as you tell me how to pick it, it's yours." Hanjiao's face was not surprised at all, and he said directly and neatly, "Some special high-level spiritual plants are extremely fragile. Only the most appropriate method can avoid reducing their medicinal properties or even destroying them. Especially the Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit, the most dangerous of the 3 spiritual plants. If it is not picked properly, this spiritual medicine will not only turn into a pool of extremely toxic venom in an instant, but will even turn the herb picker and the area within a radius of 100 miles into an ice and fire poisonous area without life. Therefore, the alchemists who know how to pick this kind of spiritual medicine are all experienced alchemists with endless inheritance behind them." This is also the confidence that Hanjiao dared to take out these 3 dragon spiritual plants. Thinking of the ancient records left by Yin Twixen, Chen Wei couldn't help but purse his lips, and his heart beat faster. He didn't expect that the Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit that Yin Twixen had been looking for so hard would appear in front of him. Is this fate? Seeing the joy on Chen Wei's face, Hanjiao suddenly had a bad premonition. No way, could it be that Chen Wei really knows how to pick the Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit? Thinking of this, Hanjiao's heart suddenly skipped a beat. This Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit is the top spiritual plant she carefully cultivated for her future breakthrough to the 8th level legend. Even though she already has 3 Dragon Beard Fruits in her collection, who would think that there are too many of these treasures that can help with breakthroughs? Of course, the more the better. When picking the Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit, it must be irrigated with the blood of a 7th level real dragon with both ice and fire properties to allow it to fall naturally. After it falls, it needs to be caught and preserved with items made of dragon beards. It cannot be preserved with iron, wood, or jade, otherwise it will turn into a pool of ice and fire venom that loses its medicinal effect but can kill everything, Chen Wei said without hesitation. Just looking at the Ice and Fire Dragon Beard Fruit from a distance, Chen Wei had a strong premonition in his heart. If he could get this treasure, he would certainly not miss it. Seeing Chen Wei easily give the answer, Hanjiao opened her red lips slightly and fell into silence. For a while, she didn't know what to say. It's too much? To be honest, she would rather Chen Wei take an 8th level legendary resource from her secret space than Chen Wei take this ice and fire dragon beard fruit. Seeing that the teacher next to him had an uncertain face and seemed to be in a dilemma, Chen Wei subconsciously took a step back and asked tentatively, "Teacher, this ice-fire dragon beard fruit is too high grade and difficult to use for my disciples. Can you allow me to change it? If I were Teacher Han, I would definitely not be willing to give such a top-grade spiritual medicine to a disciple who had just entered the sect." To Chen Wei's surprise, Teacher Han just looked at him for a while, then suddenly smiled. "The entry gift agreed in advance cannot be changed casually. Now it belongs to you." Hearing this, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile. This smile was not only because of the top-grade ice-fire dragon beard fruit that he had just obtained, but also partly because of the teacher's unrepentant behavior. "There is still one chance. Do you want to continue to choose here?" Han Jiao asked calmly. "No, I don't know the specific picking method for the remaining 2 spiritual medicines," Chen Wei said with some regret. Fortunately, it seems that he is a guy who knows when to advance and retreat. Seeing that Chen Wei did not continue to attack her remaining 2 treasures, Han Jiao was relieved, and even the pain of losing the ice-fire dragon beard fruit was reduced a little. "Then let's change to another area." Teacher Han raised her eyebrows slightly, and then snapped her fingers, and the surrounding scenery suddenly changed again. At this time, what came into Chen Wei's eyes was a huge lake, with a hazy green mist on the lake. At this time, many exotic beasts that Chen Wei had only learned about in the beast taming atlas were drinking water by the lake, and there were even 2 water mirror silver tigers with the strength of the 5th level king, staring at him covetously. However, under the warning eyes of Teacher Han, the 2 water mirror silver tigers finally chose to tuck their tails and run away in disgrace. This is the largest water area in the secret realm. All pets will drink water and play here. Occasionally, dragon pets will appear. If there's a pet you like, feel free to try to subdue it. "Okay," Chen Wei nodded. Compared with getting a new pet, he wanted the dragon stargrass or 3-leaf dragon dusk flower in the stone chamber more, but he didn't know the specific picking methods of these 2 spiritual medicines. In this way, instead of taking risks to pursue the greatest benefit, he might as well use the opportunity here. Chapter 215 3 Dragon Species. By the lake, a row of willow trees fluttering in the wind stood quietly, and then a purple light flashed before Chen Wei's eyes. "That's the purple wind red marten." Looking at the cautious little fellow in the distance, Chen Wei's eyes revealed a bit of fondness, and he subconsciously activated his penetrating spiritual eyes. Name of pet, purple wind red marten. Pet attribute, wind, fire. Racial level, brilliant king. Strength level, upper second order. Potential level, lower earth order. Racial skills, purple wind sprint, extreme wind flame attack. Red marten flame. Sensing Chen Wei's gaze, Han Jiao introduced, "The purple wind red marten is a relatively popular rare species among beastmasters. It is not only cute in appearance, but also very powerful in strength and potential. The only shortcoming of the purple wind red marten is that there is currently no stable overlord evolution route. The few cases of overlord evolution discovered by researchers so far are all special cases, which are basically difficult to replicate. Only high-level beastmaster resources can be used to evolve a new overlord form at risk." Hearing this, the idea that had just arisen in Chen Wei's mind disappeared instantly. Although the purple wind red sable is a king-level cub, the best target in his mind is still the dragon-type pet. A purple wind red sable without a stable overlord evolutionary path is not worth the risk of wasting an opportunity. After all, although Chen Wei's source star cultivation has reached the peak of the 3rd level at this time, he still cannot conclude a beast control contract with a king-level cub. Not to mention that he is still not completely sure how much effect the power of dragon control can have on the king-level cub. But it is different for dragon-type pets. Chen Wei, who has the power of dragon control, has enough confidence to subdue dragon pets. "Teacher, I personally prefer dragon-type pets." After a moment of silence, Chen Wei said what he thought truthfully. Hearing this, Han Jiao's eyes flashed with understanding. Dragon Master is the goal that most Beast Masters yearn for. But for Beast Masters, becoming a Dragon Master is not a simple thing. Some arrogant dragon-type pets are even more difficult to be recognized than king-level cubs. Because dragon pet cubs are too rare, there are only 3 dragon pets in the secret realm that have reached the level of the Brilliant King race. If you want one, I can help you send it here now. Which 3 dragon pets? Chen Wei's eyes lit up and he asked expectantly. They are the 5 elements Emperor Dragon of the Heavenly King race, which has the 5 attributes of gold, wood, water, fire and earth. The Star Moon Dragon of the Heavenly King race, which has time skills, galaxies and dragons. The Phantom Heavy Ancient Dragon of the Earthly King race, which has spiritual and dragon skills, Hanjiao introduced in detail. Seeing that Chen Wei was still tangled, Hanjiao continued, these 3 dragon pets are extremely rare and powerful beings in the Brilliant King race. I will introduce them to you first, and then you can determine the target. Okay, Chen Wei smiled and nodded. Generally, only true dragons that have reached the level of legendary emperor can be called emperor dragons, but the 5 elements emperor dragon is an exception. The 5 elements emperor dragon has 5 domineering dragon heads, each of which represents an attribute. It is an extremely rare and precious dragon species, relying on its varied fighting methods and flawless, covering the 5 attributes of the 5 elements. The 5 elements emperor dragon has extremely strong fighting potential and can be said to be at the top of the king race. Especially after it reaches adulthood, its racial skill, 5 elements roar, can crush most of the 6th level kings, and even face a short fight with a 7th level overlord beast. Hearing this, Chen Wei's heart moved. This 5 elements emperor dragon is obviously a king race, but it can be called an emperor dragon by the researchers. It is indeed extraordinary in combat power and extremely powerful. As a dual element dragon pet of the Star and Dragon system, the Star Moon Dragon has the ability to absorb starlight to become stronger. Hanjiao continued to introduce. Whether it is sunlight, moonlight, or starlight, under the illumination of these lights, the life energy of the Star Moon Dragon will be very strong, thus greatly enhancing its strength, and it can also infuse the starlight into the body of the Beastmaster by guiding the trajectory of the starlight. This can not only improve the physical fitness of the Beastmaster, but also extend the upper limit of the Beastmaster's lifespan by 3 to 5 years. The time-related racial skill, Original See the End, mastered by the Star Moon Dragon, can even see the upcoming disasters in the future. However, this time-related skill is very unstable, and the predicted disasters may be 3/10 true, 3/10 false, and 3/10 unpredictable. Therefore, some Beastmasters who are afraid of death will specifically choose to contract the Star Moon Dragon, but this type of Beastmaster often does not get its recognition. Hanjiao glanced at Chen Wei with a smile, and said meaningfully. Obviously, if Chen Wei felt that he was a coward, he would not have to waste an opportunity to choose the Star Moon Dragon. However, hearing this, Chen Wei was a little fascinated. Isn't the infusion of starlight that can improve the physical fitness of the Beastmaster a perfect match for his dragon-controlling power talent, not to mention that this starlight can also prolong life? Don't look at your young age now, this thing may be able to save lives in the future. Besides, even if you don't need this life-extending starlight in the future, you can use it to rescue those poor strong people who are about to die, and collect the high medical expenses by the way. Isn't this a good thing to have the best of both worlds? In particular, the time-related skill of the original end that can foresee future disasters is very suitable for a steady young man like yourself. After all, now is not like before. In the past, I could only enter the secret realm to fight for lack of resources. Now I have abundant assets and can become a strong man as long as I develop steadily. Seeing Chen Wei's eyes beside him straight, Hanjiao couldn't help but laugh in his heart. If it was so easy to contract the 5 elements Emperor Dragon and the Star Moon Dragon, she would have contracted and cultivated them herself long ago, and she wouldn't have stayed until now. Young people nowadays are really high-spirited and fearless. It is not impossible to force a contract to drive these special and rare dragon pets with one's own strength. But it is still easy to be attacked by the real dragon if one suppresses his temper and cultivates them in the later stage. And if one does not cultivate them vigorously, it is not worth cultivating the dragon pets whose strength is limited to the range that one can fully control. Therefore, after Hanjiao tested that he had no fate with these dragon pets, he raised them as pets. Teacher Han shook his head and began to introduce the last king dragon pet to his disciples. The Illusion Ancient Dragon is a special kind of ancient dragon. Its physical strength is the weakest among the ancient dragons, but it has extremely outstanding mental power and masters the ability to convert illusion damage into real damage. Its racial skill, Triple Illusion, can control the target's 6 senses, and it can completely control the pets with lower mental power than itself. Numbers are meaningless in front of the Illusion Ancient Dragon. Even if it is a strong man of the same level, as long as the mental power is not strong enough, It can even fight 1 against 100. P.S. Thank you for the 5,000 starting coins rewarded by Yilao Tinghua. Thank you for your support. Chapter 216 Real Illusion. If there is no powerful beast tamer to supervise, contracting with the illusion ancient dragon is an extremely dangerous thing for a beast tamer. If you are not careful, you will become a puppet of the illusion ancient dragon, and then fall into the real illusion world and cannot extricate yourself, but danger and opportunity are relative. If you can successfully contract with the illusion ancient dragon, the beast tamer's mental power will be greatly enhanced, and even usher in a qualitative change. Even the source star's cultivation speed will be increased by several levels. If you want to become an excellent alchemist, the illusion ancient dragon is a good choice. It can not only improve your mental power, but also allow you to hone your alchemy skills in the illusion. Hearing this, Chen Wei couldn't help swallowing. Even if the abilities improved in the illusion, can they be synchronized in reality? Hanji Iao glanced at Chen Wei, smiled and said, yes, that's right. In the real illusion cast by the illusion ancient dragon, the knowledge you have honed is effective, but your body also needs some time to train and run in before it can fully receive it, and this skill also has some limitations. Huansong ancient dragon can only create a real illusion that it has a clear understanding of, which means that you can't practice non-existent elixirs out of thin air in an illusion. Chen Wei smiled bitterly and asked with some doubts, Teacher, in this case, if I want to hone my alchemy skills in a real illusion, don't I have to train Huansong ancient dragon to be a qualified alchemist? Hanji Iao shook her head, that's not necessary. Under my guidance, Huansong ancient dragon can create a real illusion to practice the elixir as long as he observes the refining of the elixir a few times, but due to its current strength, it can only create an illusion of elixirs below the 3rd level at most. As for elixirs above the 4th level, they are too complicated. With Huansong ancient dragon's current mental power, it is still unable to fully control such an illusion. Hanji Iao then reminded, compared to the problems that need to be solved after the success of these contracts, you now need to pay more attention to how to subdue one of the dragon pets. After all, you only have one chance. At this point, her eyes showed some expectations. That's roughly the situation. What do you think about it? Facing the teacher's question, Chen Wei, who had difficulty making choices, fell into deep thought. Every dragon pet in Donghua is a rare existence that ordinary beastmasters can only encounter but not seek, and the dragon pets that can be left in the secret space by a master-level alchemist like Teacher Han are extremely rare and powerful among the dragons. Although the race level of these 3 dragon pets is only the Brilliant King, not even the Overlord True Dragon, but with the racial skills they master, if they have the opportunity to successfully advance to the Overlord in the future, I believe that even ordinary true dragons will not be their enemies. First of all, the 5 Elements Emperor Dragon, which has extraordinary combat power and can fight across levels, was excluded by Chen Wei at the first time. The reason is that the 5 Elements Emperor Dragon has no other use except for its extremely strong combat power, both attributes, easy to restrain the opponent's attributes and a wide range of attack. After all, Kailing can easily do this kind of thing. Chen Wei was entangled in the choice between the Star Moon Dragon and the Phantom Heavy Ancient Dragon. The biggest advantage of the Star Moon Dragon is that it can improve its dragon controlling talent from the side, and it also has the skill of extending life. Although the Star Moon Dragon can only extend the life of the Beastmaster by a few years even if its strength reaches the 6th Order King, the life extension effect is completely inferior to the Resurrection Spirit Crystal nurtured by Bailuo, but it still has the possibility of evolving again. The Star Moon Dragon of the 6th Order King alone can extend its life by several years, so wouldn't it be possible to extend its life by decades when it reaches the 7th Order Overlord? The 8th Order Legend can extend its life by hundreds of years? The 9th Order Demigod may be able to extend its life by thousands of years? When thinking of such an outrageous possibility, Chen Wei couldn't help but be moved. Even if the future Star Moon Dragon cannot extend its life by hundreds of years, it is enough to extend its life by decades. However, there are advantages and disadvantages. The Star Moon Dragon grows by starlight, and its growth period is relatively long compared to other dragon pets. Moreover, its skill, Starlight Infusion, improves the physical fitness of the Beastmaster by eliminating body toxins and purifying the body. The effect of improving the physical body may overlap with the Tyrant Dragon's secret record, and the effect of improving the physical body may be greatly reduced. Although the attributes of the Phantom Heavy Ancient Dragon overlap with those of the Colorful Spirit as a spiritual dragon pet, Its ability to improve the spiritual power of the Beastmaster is quite consistent with itself, and it can also improve its source star cultivation speed and alchemy skills in a short period of time. Teacher, which dragon pet do you think is the most suitable for contracting? Chen Wei looked at Han Jiao on the side. The difficulty of their contracts is not much different. In short, if you want to pursue combat power, choose the 5 elements Emperor Dragon. If you want to pursue the future, choose the Star Moon Dragon. And if you want to pursue alchemy, choose the Phantom Heavy Ancient Dragon. It all depends on your own thoughts. Teacher Han glanced at the tangled disciple and said concisely. Of course, if we talk about the potential of dragon pets, the Star Moon Dragon with the timer-related racial skills has the best potential. If you can find a timer-related beast resource above level 8 in the future, you may be able to evolve it into the legendary timer-related dragon pet. Hearing this, and thinking of the magical skill, Original See the End, that can predict future disasters, the balance in Chen Wei's heart began to tilt. Teacher, I can't sign a beast contract with a dragon pet of the king race now. Can the remaining selection opportunity be saved until the actual combat assessment of Zidian University is over? Chen Wei asked tentatively. Hearing this, Han Jiao took a deep look at her newly initiated disciple. With just this simple sentence, she understood Chen Wei's specific meaning. You must know that the minimum requirement for a Beastmaster to contract a king race pet is the 4th level of the Source Star, and with Chen Wei's current 3rd level peak cultivation. If he wants to quickly break through in just a dozen days, he can only rely on elixirs. And the top-grade Nixing Pill, the first reward of the actual combat assessment of Zidian University, is such an elixir that can perfectly improve the cultivation of the Source Star. Whether you want to delay time to find a way or want to get the first place in the assessment to improve your strength, it's a good idea. Han Jiao couldn't help but raise a slight arc at the corner of her mouth. Although she still doesn't think that Chen Wei can get the recognition of the dragon pet, it would be a very good thing if her newly accepted disciple could get the first place among the freshmen of Rosewood University. Okay, during this time you can also find ways to successfully get the recognition of the dragon pet, Han Jiao reminded indifferently. Even if Chen Wei is given a little more time to prepare, what happens? As long as she can see the possibilities of the new generation, she doesn't feel bad even if the 3 arrogant dragon pets are all contracted. Which dragon do you think is good, or none of them are good? Please give some advice. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217 Ignite the Spark. Late at night, in a hotel near Rosewood University. Yutong was curiously putting her right palm into the fish tank to play with a beautiful goldfish, while Kei-Ling was suspended in the air meditating and practicing. At the same time, Chen Wei opened his eyes and ended his practice tonight. Sure enough, it is much more difficult to break through the Source Star from the 3rd level to the 4th level than to break through the 3rd level before. Seeing that his progress was slow, he couldn't help but let out a deep breath. In simple terms, the practice of the first 3 levels of the Beastmaster's Source Star is simply to condense the Source Force to sublimate the Source Star, thereby expanding and improving the quality of the Source Star. Therefore, for the Beastmaster, although there are some bottlenecks in the practice of the first 3 levels of the Source Star, as long as the Beastmaster spends enough time, energy and some Beastmaster resources, he can still advance smoothly through hard practice. However, there are still many Beastmasters with poor talents who fall on the road to earn Beastmaster resources. However, when it comes to the 4th level, although the practice speed of the Beastmaster's Source Star will not decrease, the difficulty of breaking through the Source Star will increase exponentially, because the Source Star needs to ignite the spark to break through from the 3rd level to the 4th level. If the Source Star is a container for all the abilities of the Beastmaster, then when the Beastmaster's container reaches its limit and cannot continue to grow, it can use the method of igniting sparks to forcibly reshape and sublimate its container, so that it can accommodate more things. Because of this, every ignition of the spark is a great improvement for the Source Star. The so-called King-level Beastmaster is a powerful existence that can ignite the Source Star 3 times, and the Source Star and the body undergo a transformation like a reborn, and can even communicate with the heaven and earth through the Source Star to mobilize a large amount of source energy between heaven and earth. The Source Star of the Beastmaster can be ignited at most 5 times, and the difficulty of igniting the spark is more and more difficult. There are even many powerful Beastmasters who have insufficient savings but still choose to take risks to seek breakthroughs and die under the burning of the sparks. Therefore, the Beastmaster who can ignite the sparks 5 times to break through the Source Star to the 8th level is respected by the world as a legendary powerhouse. As for the knowledge of Source Star cultivation above the legendary level, it is not within the scope of knowledge that Chen Wei can understand. Chen Wei only knew the knowledge of Source Star cultivation after he became a disciple of Teacher Han. Otherwise, he only had a vague understanding of the specific information about Source Star igniting the spark. Although the difficulty of the first Source Star igniting the spark is not very high, for the sake of safety, it is better to take the condensing star pill to be more stable. Chen Wei suppressed his impatience to break through and thought to himself, "Chirp, it's time to drink water." At this time, Bai Luo handed the water cup to Chen Wei with a face full of diligence, with a bit of satisfaction and joy on his chubby face. That's right, with its hard feeding during this period. The physical fitness of the Beastmaster is increasing day by day. Especially now, looking at the fat Chen Wei in front of him, Bai Luo is very happy with his achievements. He even plans to change the plan of drinking a cup of special spiritual liquid every night to 2 cups in the morning and evening in the future. "You call this fat?" Sensing Bai Luo's thoughts, Chen Wei subconsciously looked at his 8-pack abs and the streamlined muscles on his body that contained powerful strength. Such a good figure that looks thin when dressed and muscular when undressed is actually called fat? You are worthy of it, the little fat man. Bai Luo. Chen Wei looked at Bai Luo in surprise, without any intention of correcting him. He picked up the cup handed by him and drank it all in one gulp. "Okay, it's time for us to start strengthening tonight," Chen Wei suddenly said. The next second, the figures of Kai Ling and Yu Tong appeared in front of him in an instant. Monday, June 19th, the weather was fine. Today happened to be the day when the practical assessment of Zidane University officially started. After Chen Wei and Yu Zilman finished breakfast together, they walked out of the hotel and walked towards Zidane University not far away. So many people, looking at the young Beastmasters gathered around, Chen Wei's eyes could not help but cast on the extremely eye-catching figure in the distance. Under the thin eyebrows like a crescent moon are bright light purple eyes. Although her facial features are not made up, they have a stunning charm. The temperament she exudes attracts the attention of everyone in the audience. "Does she look good?" Yu Zilman asked with pursed lips. Chen Wei was slightly stunned, and then responded seriously, "She looks very strong. Although the girl is extremely beautiful and has an extremely terrifying strong sense of presence, what makes Chen Wei feel a little touched is the sense of oppression that naturally emanates from her body." Hearing this, Yu Zilman's face eased a little, and then introduced, "Her name is Guan Qingxin, one of the famous beast-taming geniuses in Zitan City. It is rumored that she has contracted a king-level pet beast and is one of the favorites to win the practical assessment of Zitan University this year." The man next to her in a black long-sleeved shirt is called Su Kun. He is a famous genius in Genie City. It is said that he has the strength of a high-level beast tamer. His strength should not be underestimated. He is also one of the favorites to win this time. "Has Guan Qingxin's Source Star cultivation reached the 4th level?" Chen Wei asked subconsciously. He thought his Source Star cultivation was high enough, but he didn't expect that there was such a demon genius in the world. Yu Zilman shook her head, her tone somewhat envious. "That's not the case. I heard that her Source Star cultivation is at the 3rd stage, not as high as you, a pervert. As for the rumor that she has contracted a king-level pet, maybe it's because of her innate talent." "Innate talent?" Chen Wei murmured. "Yes, in addition to the innate talent that can show miracles, there is really no other way to break the restrictions of the Beastmaster's contracted pet." Then Chen Wei cast his eyes on the wide gate of Rosewood University, where a large number of candidates were queuing at the gate waiting for identity verification. Fortunately, there are many channels for identity verification. And Chen Wei and Yu Zilman only queued for a while before entering the campus. According to the signposts set up along the way, they soon arrived at the underground parking lot of Rosewood University. At this time, dozens of floating buses were parked in the vast parking lot, and 2 Beastmasters in military uniforms were stationed at the door of each bus. Chen Wei glanced at the dark team in front of him, and started to line up according to the staff's instructions. At the same time, he used his peripheral vision to look for strong opponents in the crowd that he needed to pay attention to. The content of the actual combat assessment test of this year's Red Sands University has not been officially announced. If this assessment is the previous Alien Beast competition, it would be fine. He only needs to knock down enough alien beasts to win the championship. But if it is a competition between beast masters, then he needs to pay more attention to the hidden opponents around him, so as not to overturn because of carelessness. P.S. Thank you for the 1,500 starting coins rewarded by Sakura Miracle, and thank you for your recent votes. Chapter 218, Earth Labyrinth. After successfully passing the identity check with Yu Zilman, Chen Wei got on the bus. Not long after, the rumbling sound of the engine starting suddenly sounded, and the suspended bus that had been stationary began to rise slowly at a steady speed, and then rushed into the air at a lightning speed according to the safe route stipulated by the Beast Taming Association. Sitting in the quiet car, Chen Wei casually looked around and found that the candidates nearby had hidden their pets. Only a girl with white hair and red eyes not far away was holding her pet, the red warm spirit rabbit, in her arms, which was particularly eye-catching. Pet name, Red Warm Spirit Rabbit. Pet attributes, Fire, Wood, Racial level, Top Elite, Strength level, Second Order Middle, Potential level, Heavenly Grade Top, Racial skills, Spirit Rabbit Pounding Medicine, Red Warm Flame, Plant and Tree Affinity. Noticing Chen Wei's gaze, Yu Zilman's eyes showed a bit of envy, and she introduced softly. Her name is Yu Xianglu, a well-known genius alchemist in Zitan City. She became an intermediate alchemist at the age of 19. She is widely recognized by the senior leaders of the Alchemist Association, and is known as the youngest genius alchemist girl in the history of Nanjiang Province. It is said that she has been recommended by the Alchemy Department of Zitan University in advance. Speaking of this, Yu Zilman was a little puzzled. Strange, according to reason, a child of destiny like her should not need to participate in this practical assessment, but she actually appeared here. Hearing this, Chen Wei was shocked, and his eyes changed slightly when he looked at the girl in the distance. Sure enough, there are many geniuses in this world, you know. Even I, who has outstanding mental power, have only been a second-level alchemist so far, and this girl who gives people a quiet and gentle appearance is already a third-level alchemist. Chen Wei fixed his eyes on Yu Zilman and exclaimed, "You know so much information." Yu Zilman rolled her eyes at Chen Wei and said helplessly, "These are all information that can be easily found out, as long as you pay a little attention to the news in this area. But apart from Yu Xianglu, the news about you and the other three monsters is the most famous among this year's new generation." "Am I famous?" Chen Wei pointed at himself and asked in surprise. Yu Zilman took out her mobile phone and handed it to Chen Wei. "This year, there are only 4 people in the new generation of Donghua who can get the SSS evaluation of the Source Star cultivation level, and one of the monsters is you. Some people on the internet also call you the 4 Kings of the new generation. Do you want to see the news about you, the 4 Kings?" Chen Wei's expression froze when he heard this embarrassing nickname. Seeing Yu Zilman's interested smile, he quickly changed the subject and said, "Do you know the details of this practical assessment? I have inquired about it, but the news is very tightly blocked. I guess they will explain it to us later." Yu Zilman smiled and tilted her head to look out a window. The practical assessments of previous sessions were all held in the internal venues of Rosewood University, but the location of this practical assessment has been moved, which means that this time it may be a practical adventure assessment of the secret realm, she speculated. At this moment, a deep and rich male voice sounded in the quiet carriage. Chen Wei looked up and immediately found the loudspeaker set on the top of the carriage and the 3-dimensional large screen quietly generated in front. On the large screen was an old man with gray hair who looked to be over 60 years old. He was wearing a gray-brown robe, with exquisite rings on his fingers, and a medicine cauldron with a carved surface hanging on his chest. Above the medicine cauldron was a badge with 7 dazzling suns hanging high. Grandmaster Alchemist. Noticing the exquisite alchemist badge, Chen Wei's eyes flickered a few times, and the look on his face became more profound. A powerful existence of the same level as the teacher, the old man coughed lightly. "I am the general person in charge of this practical assessment. Next, I will tell you the detailed rules of this assessment. First of all, the location of this practical assessment is located in the Wild Level Secret Realm, Earth Labyrinth, recently developed by Rosewood University. This maze secret realm has 6 floors, which are full of a large number of beast-controlling resources and dangers. The deeper you go, the more difficult the challenges you will encounter. And then you will enter the Earth Labyrinth to accept a one-day practical adventure assessment. The total number of candidates who signed up for the Rosewood University practical assessment this time is 12,832, but this year Rosewood University's planned enrollment plan is only 2,000 people, which means that 80% of the candidates here will not be able to attend Rosewood University. At this point, the whispers in the carriage suddenly quieted down. Except for a few Beastmasters who had confidence in themselves, the other candidates showed some nervousness and anxiety on their faces. Chen Wei glanced at Yu Zilman beside him. After the old man's narration, even this lady who was always graceful and generous showed a trace of anxiety in her eyes. The old man paused, and after everyone digested his meaning, he said seriously, and unlike in the past, the dangers contained in the Earth Labyrinth are endless, and there may even be cases of candidates dying. Therefore, before entering the Earth Labyrinth, candidates need to sign a death responsibility agreement, so if there are candidates who want to give up the assessment midway, they can raise it now. Now there is still an hour to reach the destination. During this period, you can seriously consider whether you need to continue the assessment. As soon as these words came out, several candidates with panicked expressions raised their right hands and planned to give up the assessment directly. Just kidding, it was already difficult to get into Rosewood University with their own strength, but this assessment actually had the risk of death. How could they accept this? They might as well give up and participate in the practical assessments of the other 4 majors. 2 rows in front of Chen Wei, a candidate who was overwhelmed by the pressure stood up and shouted loudly. There is no exam in this world that risks the lives of candidates. We are just students studying now, not those professional Beastmasters who bleed on the tip of a knife. I give up. Seeing this, a Beastmaster who was maintaining order in the carriage sternly reprimanded, "Silence, no noises are allowed on the train. Candidates who intend to give up do not need to raise their hands and stand up. Just press the red button hidden under the armrest of your seat, and then use your mobile phone to submit an application for giving up the examination on the official website of Rosewood University." Hearing this, some candidates who originally wanted to give up in their hearts, but were afraid of being ridiculed by the Beastmasters around them, chose to give up secretly. Noticing the tangled look on Yu Zilman's face, Chen Wei did not choose to speak, but quietly waited for her to make the final choice. If Yu Zilman needed his advice, Chen Wei could provide some suggestions, but he would never interfere with Yu Zilman's final choice. This was the minimum respect he had for his friends. Chapter 219 Assessment begins. There are so many candidates who gave up. Ignoring Yu Zilman who was hesitating beside him, Chen Wei glanced around and found that many candidates chose to give up secretly. I feel that the last candidate who gave up on himself is very strange. I always feel that his expression is a bit exaggerated. Chen Wei glanced at the candidate in the first 2 rows, and then looked at the serious staff in the distance, thinking to himself, "It's a bit strange. Could this be the rhythm deliberately set by Rosewood University? Or is it an alternative screening before the actual test?" He thought with some doubts, and then shifted his gaze to the nervous girl next to him. If it was the calm Yu Zilman, she would probably find something wrong soon, but unfortunately she is too nervous now. Noticing Chen Wei's concerned look, Yu Zilman forced a smile on her face. "Don't worry, I won't give up. Maybe we still have a chance to become classmates." Chen Wei nodded. After a moment of silence in the car, the old man's voice sounded again on the big screen. "Please note that although the Earth Labyrinth has 6 levels, the final assessment you will receive will not be based on the level you reach, but will be based on your combat performance along the way. If you do not cherish your own life and the lives of your pets, and blindly pursue breakthroughs in the levels of the labyrinth, and thus encounter life-threatening situations, your final assessment results will be greatly reduced. Secondly, the rare beast resources you obtain in the Earth Labyrinth will add a certain amount of points to your final score, and you can take the resources you obtain in the labyrinth away for free without having to hand them in. But I hope that when you pick resources, you can keep some of the beast resources and not exhaust all the resources. Please note that the competition for beast resources can be decided through combat, and the winner can choose a beast resource from the loser as a reward. But you must not intentionally harm the lives of beastmasters and pets, otherwise you will be eliminated directly. Finally, candidates who are ranked in the top 2,000 will be deemed to have passed the actual combat assessment and can enter the next stage of the ranking battle. Candidates ranked in the top 100 will receive various awards issued by Rosewood University according to their rankings. Hearing this, Chen Wei's eyebrows slightly raised. The number of floors that can be reached in the end is not important, but the combat performance of the Beastmaster along the way is more important. Well, the general evaluation method. It is that Rosewood University uses the mechanical life Xianshu number 1 to make the assessment. Otherwise it is estimated that many candidates who failed the exam will question the fairness of this practical test. However, in this way, Chen Wei is relieved. Although he knows that he is not a road idiot, he may get lost in the intricate maze. At that time, as long as he can show enough strength, he should be able to get a good score even if he is trapped on the first floor. An hour later, the speed of the floating bus that was speeding in the air began to slowly decrease, and finally landed steadily in the parking lot. After getting off the bus, Chen Wei looked forward. I saw 6 giant gates with a height of 12 meters and a width of 5 meters standing not far away. And the Beastmaster Corps station by Rosewood University was also entrenched nearby. According to the guidance of the staff, Chen Wei and Yu Zilman lined up in front of the queue of the 5th gate. After signing the death agreement and confirming his identity, he received a bracelet of Kongming stone fragments from the man in military uniform. As time passed, the hour hand quickly turned to 8 o'clock. At this moment, with a roar, 6 huge doors slowly opened, revealing the mysterious unknown world inside. The assessment officially begins. Please enter the gate in order according to the queue order, the mechanical voice resounding throughout the venue prompted. After hearing this, everyone stepped forward in order. Chen Wei's position happened to be in the middle of the team, so it was his turn soon. Looking at the huge black door emitting mysterious light in front of him and the figure of the Beastmaster who disappeared in front of him, Chen Wei did not hesitate and strode forward directly into the gate of the secret realm. Chen Wei slowly opened his eyes. The first thing that caught his eyes was the brown-yellow walls and ceiling, followed by an endless wide rock passage. A large number of rock passages formed many forks and crossroads with strange terrains, and then formed a large-scale and complicated maze. Feeling the heavy and rich earth source power around him, as well as the large amount of fluorescent stones mixed around the passage, Chen Wei showed an interested smile on his face. The next second, a spoon-shaped brown-yellow insect suddenly emerged from the rock wall behind Chen Wei. If ordinary people did not observe carefully, they could easily mistake it for the color of the wall itself. The beetle was about 1 meter in size, and the 2 long whiskers growing on its head were shaking slightly. At this time, its 2 pairs of forelimbs were raised high, and the powerful earth source power dyed its last pair of legs, and then it suddenly attacked Chen Wei, who seemed to know nothing, at a jaw-dropping speed. The powerful brown-yellow legs approached rapidly from the corner of Chen Wei's pupils, but the next second, a light golden hot flame suddenly surged out of his hands. Boom! Just a fire fist, the rock beetle that launched a sneak attack from behind was directly burned to ashes by the flames. You should know that earth-type beasts have a certain resistance to fire-type attacks, but it was still melted instantly by the fire fist attack. The power of the source fire in Chen Wei's hand can be imagined. Pet name, rock beetle. Pet attribute, earth type, racial level, medium special, strength level, first order middle, racial skills, rock shell, earth escape disc, boring, just a first order middle level rock beetle. This is not even a warm-up. Looking at the black residue on the ground, Chen Wei's fingers flashed with starlight, and a fluffy and cute figure quietly appeared in the deep orange rune array. Meow. Yutong found that the surroundings were unfamiliar as soon as she landed, and her gem-like eyes immediately looked around vigilantly. Chen Wei lowered his head and glanced at the dragon bracelet on his wrist, covered by the long sleeves. It was Kei Ling who was meditating and practicing all the time. The rest of the journey depends on you, Yutong, who had advanced to the upper level of the second level by consuming the power of the Great Sunfire Seed. Had never fought a real battle except for the combat practice within the team. Now was a good time to practice. Meow, no problem. Yutong jumped onto the shoulder of her Beastmaster, and then looked at the rock walls on both sides with vigilance. Seeing this, Chen Wei smiled. It seemed that Yutong's perception was quite sharp, and she could find the rock beetles hidden in the wall in time. As Chen Wei expected, the next second, the surrounding walls began to crack and shake, and 12 rock beetles continued to pour out from the broken cracks, and then surrounded him. Chapter 220 Everyone's Eyes. Leave it to you, deal with them. As soon as Chen Wei finished speaking, Yutong immediately jumped into the air, and the roaring red gold flames with an extremely violent momentum quickly surged out of its body. Boom! The sky-high flames enveloped all the rock beetles in an instant. Zzzz, the thick armor on which they depended for survival was burned away by the flames. The rock beetles struggled hard in the sea of fire that brought the shadow of death, and uttered unwilling wails, but everything was in vain. In a blink of an eye, all the rock beetles turned into a bleak black ash. Ignoring the rock beetles that were completely crushed behind him, Chen Wei took a quick look at the surrounding situation, chose a direction based on his intuition, and began to move forward. Inside the Red Sands University, the assessment monitoring room. In addition to the intelligent machine Xianshu number 1 that was taking real-time pictures of the Earth maze to make appropriate performance evaluations, some teachers from the Red Sands University were observing the tens of thousands of densely packed screens in front of them, trying to find the seedlings they were interested in. Yes, at this time of year, the teachers of Zidian University will select the disciples they want based on the performance of the candidates and extend an olive branch. As senior tutors of Zidian University, they have some privileges. Even if the candidates do not perform well and are not ranked in the top 2,000, as long as they feel that the candidates are suitable for their inheritance, they can ask the school to recruit them as their own disciples. Of course, this quota is limited and extremely precious. At present, there are more than 1,000 teachers in Zidian University, but there are only dozens of teachers who can have special admissions quotas. At this moment, a beautiful female teacher wearing a black and gray bamboo needle arrow sleeves shirt on the upper body, a chrysanthemum blue camellia luobeho skirt on the lower body, and a rose-red shawl on the back paid attention to Chen Wei. This teacher is Zheng Yan, a teacher of the Battle Department of Zidian University, a king-level beastmaster, who is ready to find a suitable seedling to recruit as a personal disciple this year in order to expand his own network and influence. The mutated titanium crystal puppet seems to be a talent discovered by junior sister Muning. Could it be that this guy is the top SSS-level genius that has been rumored recently? Zheng Yan had of course heard of one of the 4 kings of the new generation this year, and she subconsciously paid more attention to Chen Wei. Although she knew that she could not compete with other mentors with her shallow qualifications, and it would be difficult for her to recruit such a genius beastmaster, she still couldn't help but be eager to make a move. What if, at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded? Teacher Zheng. Zheng Yan turned her head and saw a blonde beauty with long hair draped over her shoulders, willow eyebrows like black, and eyes as bright and dazzling as red crystals. Her delicate face was as delicate and white as a girl, but her eyes were full of vicissitudes of life, giving people a mature temperament and charm. She was wearing a khaki robe, black jade earrings on her ears, and 3 exquisite rings of different shapes on her right hand, which was as white as green onions. These accessories faintly revealed some extraordinary aura, and they were obviously powerful source instruments of extremely high level. Professor Tan, are you planning to recruit disciples in person this year? Zheng Yan's face showed surprise. Tan Zuking, a second-level full professor of the alchemy department of Zidian University, a master-level alchemist, an epic-level beastmaster, and the chief disciple of Director Han. She is also a senior instructor of the teaching and elixir research courses of the alchemy department of Zidian University. It can be said that in addition to Director Han, many important affairs of the alchemy department of Zidian University are led by Professor Tan. It is even exaggerated to say that some of the current rules and regulations of the alchemy department are formulated according to her ideas. As a master-level alchemist with great power and respected status, if Professor Tan wants to recruit new disciples, he only needs to say a word, and a large number of geniuses will volunteer to come to his door to become his disciples. A person like her, whose every move can cause great shock, should not appear in the monitoring room for selecting talents, unless there is a demon here that she treats differently. Thinking of this, Zheng Yan subconsciously focused her eyes on the screen of Chen Wei. The teacher recently accepted a new disciple. I have time today. I want to see the performance of this little junior brother. Tan Zuking smiled slightly and said meaningfully. Hearing this, Zheng Yan's heart skipped a beat, and a sense of loss surged in her heart. She looked at the towering and indifferent figure on the screen and asked softly, could it be that Director Han's new disciple is the SSS-level genius Chen Wei who has recently become famous? Yes, that's right, Tan Zuking responded concisely and clearly, and then her bright eyes followed Zheng Yan's gaze to look at the handsome boy who strode forward on the screen. That is a very interesting boy. Thinking of the teacher's evaluation of Chen Wei in her mind, Tan Zuking's beautiful eyes lit up slightly. As her voice fell, the sound in the monitoring room suddenly became silent. Incredible, Director Han actually accepted a disciple. The teachers who could enter the monitoring room to select the disciples they were satisfied with were all powerful people above the king level, and Zheng Yan and Tan Zuking did not hide the conversation between the people present, and they naturally heard the shocking news with their hearing. After looking at each other, this group of interested teachers even put aside the purpose of selecting their own disciples. Instead, they all began to pay attention to Chen Wei's every move, as if to see what was so special about this young man that he could be favored by Director Han. In the distance, a beast with a hard shell on its back, A ferocious head like a rabbit but with a bird's beak, a pair of sharp eagle eyes, and thick gray-brown limbs. The front end of the limbs is 4 sharp claws with a lot of spikes. It is staring at the human who suddenly appeared. Looking at the beast with a vigilant look not far away, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with a light golden luster. Name of pet, ancient rock beast. Attributes of pet, earth, racial level, high level transcendent, strength level, upper level II, racial skills, rock dash, stone slam, shatter as a front row meat shield earth type alien beast with outstanding dual defense, coupled with the earth type's resistance to fire. The ancient rock beast should not be killed instantly by Yutong if the strength is the same. Chen Wei touched his chin and thought to himself. There was no way. All the Earth-type alien beasts he encountered in this first-level maze were killed instantly by Yutong without exception, and there was no effect of tempering at all. It was not easy to find an alien beast of the same high-level transcendent race and with superior attributes. This ancient rock beast hoped that it would not disappoint him. Chapter 221 Dragon Devouring Mangrove. On the other side, looking at the terrifying human approaching from a distance, the ancient rock beast, which instinctively sensed the danger, immediately wanted to retreat. It could clearly feel that the upright ape standing on 2 legs next to it was more dangerous and terrifying than the strange beast covered with hair. Chen Wei saw that the ancient rock beast was ready to fight, and immediately transmitted his thoughts. Flame attack. Upon hearing this, Yutong raised her head immediately, and her red gemstone eyes suddenly burst into brilliant golden light. The next second, the fierce and violent red-gold flames immediately enveloped Yutong's figure, and formed a red-gold flame armor on its body. It jumped hard on all 4s, and its body, like a cannonball, carried dazzling flames and slammed into the ancient rock beast fiercely. Seeing this, the ancient rock beast, which had originally intended to avoid it, flashed a fierce light, and its heavy and huge body actually had a speed that was inconsistent with its size. In just a moment, it turned into a gray-brown stream of light and disappeared in an instant. Then, with a vast momentum, it did not dodge or avoid, and directly collided head-on with the incoming flames. Boom! The shock wave caused by the collision between the two seemed to make the entire rock passage begin to tremble violently, making people wonder whether this underground maze would collapse. The smoke and dust filled the entire passage. Chen Wei just waved his hand, and the strong wind blew away the dust on the surface. It seems that we have to find the passage to the lower level as soon as possible. The strange beasts on the first level are too weak. Soon, the dust dissipated, and the ancient rock beast that was just so aggressive had fallen to the ground without any breath. Its gray-brown body had been burnt to charcoal by the surging flames, leaving only the cracked black carapace on its back. Seeing this tragic scene, Chen Wei couldn't help but shake his head. It seems that we can't blame the previous Earth-type beast for being too weak, but rather that Yutong, who had swallowed part of the power of the sun fire, was too strong. The power of her natal source fire was even more outrageous. Even Earth-type beasts of the same level that were extremely resistant to fire damage were killed by a single blow. After taking out the magic core of the ancient rock beast, Chen Wei looked at the faint light under the vines at the edge of the passage. That was the soft luster naturally emitted by the beast controlling resources, iron crystal copper, a second-level earth and crystal dual-type beast controlling resource. After being consumed by earth and crystal dual-type pets, it can slightly increase the strength of the body. It is one of the evolutionary resources of the earth crystal puppet. Looking at this piece of iron crystal copper that was partially exposed and had been eaten by the ancient rock beast by 1/5, Chen Wei showed a trace of pity in his eyes, and then took out the tools from the star ring and began to dig it out quickly. Now is not the time to disdain it. Even if the second-level resource bonus is small, it is still a score. Very good flame. Looking at the titanium crystal puppet that killed everything on the screen, Zheng Yan exclaimed. Although I don't know how Chen Wei trained the titanium crystal puppet, just looking at the power of the flame on the screen. The life source fire of this titanium crystal puppet seems to be more fierce and powerful than the fire crystal puppet of Skullmate Muning. Red gold life source fire. Tan Zuking looked at the flame disappearing from the titanium crystal puppet. Her face was still calm, but her eyes were a little strange. Although I can't sense the breath through the screen, if I'm not mistaken, the flame released by this puppet seems a bit like the Great Sun True Flame of the 7th level Overlord Great Sun Dragon. Good guy, if my intuition is not wrong, not only is this beast master, but this titanium crystal puppet is also a complete monster. It is obviously just a high-level extraordinary mutant race, but it actually devours and refines the great sun true flame of the epic overlord race with its weak body. This is really a crazy fire pet. However, at this time, compared with a mutant pet, what surprised and concerned her the most was Chen Wei, the Beastmaster. As an epic Beastmaster, Tanzuking naturally has outstanding vision and experience. Generally speaking, she only needs to take a few glances to easily see through the details and strength of most low-level Beastmasters. It is precisely because of this that she found something wrong with Chen Wei through the picture. In short, compared to the Beastmaster, Tanzuking felt that the teacher's new disciple was more like a physical cultivator who had been training his physical strength for many years, trying to tap the potential limit of his own body, and was a rare physical cultivator in this glorious era of Beastmastering. In her opinion, Chen Wei's current physical fitness is only inferior to that of a king-level Beastmaster, but far exceeds that of a master-level Beastmaster. Chen Wei's current physical strength alone is enough to crush the third-level extraordinary, and can even compete with a fourth-level elite. In general, compared to this Yuanxing, he has extremely fast cultivation, extremely strong physical cultivation, and is also an almighty monster of a Yiao master. His contracted pet, the titanium crystal puppet, is somewhat mediocre, or even vulnerable. Therefore, when the teachers around praised the flame power of the titanium crystal puppet, Tanzuking's beautiful eyes became deeper and deeper as she looked at her junior brother. Is it because of the real-time monitoring? I always feel that there is an extremely fiery gaze staring at me. Chen Wei carefully looked at the surrounding environment, and through intuition, he soon discovered several extremely hidden mechanical life forms, sky eyes. However, he had a hunch in his heart that these sky eyes were just little guys, and the real source of their gazes should come from an unknown existence deep underground. But thinking that the deadline for the actual combat assessment was only one day, Chen Wei did not think much about it, and directly reminded Kai Ling, who is immersed in cultivation, through his mind, that he wanted to explore the way with her magnificent mental power and planned to break through to the 6th floor at the fastest speed. At this time, deep in the 6th floor of the Earth Maze, a huge red tree with some slightly swirling lines in the growth pattern on the surface of the bark was standing here, and countless roots were spreading wildly from the land where it was stationed to the 1st to 6th floors of the Earth Maze. It is the 7th level overlord pet that Director Han of Red Sand University left in the depths of the maze to ensure the safety of the examinees and the smooth progress of the practical examination. Pet name, Dragon Devouring Mangrove. Pet attributes, Wood, Dragon. Racial level, Epic Overlord. Strength level, 7th level upper. Racial skills, Dragon Slaying Root, Dragon Blood Absorption, Dragon Breaking Vine, Dragon Power Vine. Pet introduction. A strange existence born from devouring dragons, it is a plant-based alien beast that regards dragons as delicacies. The dragon corpses it devours can breed dragon blood fruits that slightly purify the dragon bloodline, so it can attract dragon pets around on a large scale and then hunt perfectly. At this time, feeling the extremely tempting dragon breath, although this dragon-devouring mangrove knew that its main responsibility was to ensure the safety of the examinees, it couldn't help but focus all its attention on Chen Wei, and even the epidermis of its main branches subconsciously flowed out the sap that was so greedy. Such a pure dragon scent. This smell is much more fragrant than that of Grau. P.S. Thanks to Ko Chunzai for the reward of 100 starting coins. Chapter 222 The Two Escapers. However, the dragon-devouring mangrove, which regarded its master's orders as its only concern and feared the beastmaster's anger, did not dare to act rashly. It could only watch Chen Wei, the guy with an alluring aura, swaying in front of it. In this way, as time passed, more and more sap flowed slowly from the roots and vines of the dragon-devouring mangrove throughout the earth labyrinth, and a sweet and fragrant aroma gradually drifted out. On the other side, on the 3rd floor of the earth labyrinth, a rooster with green feathers and a body as green as if carved from jade was roaring with great momentum. It was seen that a terrifying green frost was sprayed out of its mouth. Wherever the frost air reached, the surrounding beasts were immediately frozen and invaded by the beautiful and trembling cold air. Pet name, Frost Jade Chicken. Pet attributes, Ice, Crystal. Racial level, Transcendent Commander. Strength level, Level 3 Middle. Potential level, Heavenly Level Middle. Racial skills, Frost Flower Pecking, Green Blood Corrosion, Ice Storm Claws, Green Crystal Body Protection. Well done, Su Kun nodded with satisfaction. After dealing with the surrounding strange beasts, The frost jade chicken immediately turned into a green light and flew to the top of its beastmaster's head and lay down, then looked at Sukun with a smug look on its face. Cluck, done. I've told you several times, don't always lie on my head after the battle. In response, Sukun's mouth twitched and he shook his head helplessly. However, the frost jade chicken still lay firmly on his head and refused to come down. Sukun sighed, without even looking at it, and directly reached his right hand silently above his head. This familiar and smooth movement easily pinched the frost jade chicken's neck. Cluck, let me go. Although the wings of the frost green chicken were waving wildly, the sharp and terrifying green chicken claws under it did not show any resistance. Sukun, who had long been accustomed to it, did not show any surprise on his face. After stroking the feathers of his pet, he cast his eyes on the dozen magic cores tightly grasped by the frost green chicken's claws. After taking away the magic core, Sukun thought for a while, touched the head of the frost green chicken, and instructed, "Help me keep an eye on Guankinxin's breath. If you find it, I will reward you with an hour of rest time." Cluck, deal. Hearing this, the frost green chicken's sharp eyes suddenly lit up. It first looked at the top of its beastmaster's head with joy, and then began to search with full energy. Also on the third floor of the maze, there were collapsed buildings everywhere on a deserted ruin. Several huge stone pillars that fell to the ground and the dark ground formed a lonely scene. Turbulent waves, Guankinxin commanded. Beside her, a purple and blue dragonfish, with eyes like blue gems, 4 horn-like white spikes on its head, a snake-like tail with blue scales on top and white crystals underneath, was wrapped in a thick blue water flow. Pet name, Dragonfish Blue King. Pet attributes, water, dragon, racial level, transcendent commander, strength level, level 3 middle, potential level, heavenly level middle, racial skills, raging sea dragon roar, deep sea whirlpool, turbulent waves, dragonfish leaping water. Introduction, unlike the red-tail gold, which is rumored to contain a trace of dragon blood and the shame of dragonfish, the Dragonfish Blue King, as one of the Dragonfish Kings, has extremely high purity of dragon blood in its body, and can evolve into a powerful dragon with different attributes through the tidal spirit and dragon beast resources. As Guankinxin gave the order, the water droplets around the Dragonfish Blue King gathered into a stream. The turbulent water instantly turned into dozens of huge water columns like long snakes, and then fiercely bombarded the alien beast made of rock in the distance. The thick and huge rocks instantly rose from the ground in front of the rock alien beast, forming an indestructible defensive shield. However, in the face of the raging waves that restrained earth-based skills, the huge and solid rock shield could not even block for a second before being washed away and submerged by the rushing water column. Even the top elite race, the rock giant with a strength of the 3rd level, was transformed into a large amount of faded gravel and a sparkling beige gem under this fierce attack. It's only the 3rd level and the 3rd level alien beast has appeared. It seems that the probability of clearing the maze by one's own strength this time is slim. Guankinxin stepped forward to pick up the gem core left by the rock giant, thinking to himself, even with the advantage of attribute restrained, the strength of the Dragonfish Blue King can only cross levels to deal with Earth-type beasts below the 4th level middle level. According to her current experience in clearing levels, there should be a 4th level upper level beast on the 6th level of the maze. If you don't find a teammate with good strength to cooperate with each other, it will be difficult to pass the level by relying on your own strength. No way, it seems that I still have to find Sukun to cooperate with me, Guankinxin murmured. On the other side, the 3rd level of the Earth maze. Yi, Greek letter sigma, I feel the breath of danger. Kayling suddenly looked at the surrounding walls, and her voice was a little surprised. Hearing this, Chen Wei stood in place and glanced around cautiously. Unlike the mazes of the first 2 floors full of intersecting passages, the 3rd floor was full of stone tablets and ruins damaged by strange beasts, and even the space was much wider and wider. If it weren't for the faintly fluorescent stones and humid air around him, Chen Wei really thought he was back on the ground. Boom! The ground in the distance seemed to be shaking. Sensing the approaching violent vibration, Chen Wei looked at the source of the sound, and then subconsciously entered a state of preparation. As the footsteps approached, the first thing that caught Chen Wei's eyes was an extremely eye-catching sexy figure and the Blue King of Dragonfish beside her, followed by a handsome boy with a frost green chicken on his head. They were all running like crazy, as if there was something extremely dangerous chasing behind them. Let's rush over there, Guankinxin gritted his teeth and said, looking at the young man standing still in the distance. This is not good. Su-kun frowned slightly. He was clearly the one who caused the trouble, but it affected innocent passers-by. He was very resistant to such a thing. The candidates who can reach the third level are very strong. We can only have a chance to fight back if we unite the strength of all the candidates on the third level. Otherwise, everyone will have to withdraw from the assessment next. Damn it. Hearing this, Su-kun spit on himself in his heart, and then looked at the candidates who looked stupid in the distance and shouted loudly, "Run!" Chapter 223 The Beast Tide Forms. Run! Hearing the loud shouts from afar, Chen Wei looked behind them with curiosity. 2 level 3 or higher commander level pets were enough to allow this 2-person team to run rampant on the 3rd floor of the Earth Labyrinth. What on earth could make them so nervous? Thinking of this, Chen Wei glanced at the Kongming stone bracelet and K-Ling on his wrist, and an excited smile appeared on his face. Could it be a small-scale beast tide? I'm really looking forward to it. Soon, Guan Kingxin and Su-kun, who were sweating profusely, saw Chen Wei's face and pet clearly. Titanium crystal puppet? Chen Wei from Shushan City? The top genius who has been making a lot of noise recently. Guan Kingxin found Chen Wei's specific information at the first time. On the contrary, Su-kun, who was running fast and had no time to think, felt a sinking feeling in his heart the moment he saw the titanium crystal puppet clearly. Although I don't know how this boy got to the 3rd floor, his pet is only of medium-level peculiarity. Is he scared? What's the difference between standing still and committing suicide? So, when Chen Wei and their figures passed by, his eyes met with a pair of beautiful light purple eyes. Seeing that Chen Wei ignored his shouts, Su-kun, who didn't even have time to breathe, stretched out his right hand when he crossed Chen Wei's figure, intending to take him with him to escape, but was directly dodged by the boy in front of him. You can just run away by yourselves. Seeing Su-kun's surprised expression, Chen Wei casually said, and then looked at a large shadow approaching in the distance with an excited expression. Sure enough, K-Ling's spiritual perception was not wrong. It turned out to be a small-scale beast tide. Since he knew that the results of this practical test were based on the performance of the candidates, Chen Wei would certainly not miss such a great opportunity to brush up his evaluation. It's hard to persuade the damn ghost with good words. This thought flashed through Su-kun's mind, and then he continued to run quickly. Instead, Guan Kingxin stopped. After she took a breath, she said solemnly, "There are more than 300 beasts chasing us. There are more than 24th order lower level beasts of the elite race alone, and there are even 3 4th order upper level beasts of the leader race. With such a lineup, even if you use the Kongming stone bracelet, you may die due to untimely transmission. Aren't you afraid of death?" Facing the girl's question, Chen Wei raised his eyebrows. "How do you know who will die if you don't try?" Hearing this, Guan Kingxin smiled. Su-kun, stop and prepare for battle. Because they had killed some beasts on the road before, they were able to run so far, but if they continued to run like this, if they did not encounter a large number of powerful candidates in the middle of the way, but were blocked by a group of beasts first, they would easily fail and withdraw from the assessment. Although she still felt that the beast tide was unmatched until now, since she had met a confident genius candidate, she would let her see with her own eyes the value of the so-called SSS level genius. You know, even the roar of the angry sea dragon that her pet used with all its strength was instantly defeated by the 3/4 level upper level beasts, and it did not cause any damage to the beast tide. She did not think that any new beast master could resist such a terrifying beast tide. Fortunately, even if she encountered the worst situation, as long as she could defeat enough beasts before withdrawing, she could still squeeze her ranking into the top 10 of this assessment. It should have been like this a long time ago. Su-kun stopped without hesitation. The adventure of the Earth Maze is not as important as the subsequent qualifying competition. As long as the evaluation results can be steadily in the top 2,000, it will be fine. Compared with being chased by the beasts, he now wants to fight to his heart's content, so as to vent his depression of being chased by the beasts all the way. The only thing that made Su-kun feel strange was why a small-scale beast tide suddenly appeared in the secret adventure of Zidian University. Was this an assessment intentional or accidental by the school? It's over, something's wrong. At this time, the dragon-eating mangrove rooted deep in the 6th floor scratched the lush green leaves above its head with its extremely hard vines. Before being cultivated into dragon-eating mangrove by the beast master, it was a mangrove that devoured all beasts. The sap it naturally secreted had the ability to attract and seduce all beasts. Just before, Because the dragon-eating mangrove was too absorbed in looking at the food, the vines that spread near Chen Wei's underground began to flow out some sap. Although it recovered it as soon as it discovered it, the sweet fragrance that emanated caused the alien beasts on the 4th and 5th floors of the maze to go crazy, and they all rushed to the 3rd floor. Do you want to stop it? Looking at the crazy group of alien beasts, the dragon-eating mangrove, who served as the guardian of the examinees, was extremely entangled and felt that he seemed to have caused trouble. At the same time, in the monitoring room of Zidian University, Tan Zuking was looking at the beast tied on the screen and fell into deep thought. Professor Tan, according to the preset plan, shouldn't the last beast tied start in the last hour of the assessment? Zhang Yan asked in surprise. She was a little surprised. Was he confused because of sleep? A powerful and extremely powerful rank 7 overlord could even miscalculate the time. Well, it should be an accident, Tan Zuking said indifferently. Do we need to suspend the assessment? The staff asked Tan Zuking. No need to stop. The potential of this year's new beast masters can be better seen at a critical moment. Just ensure the safety of the candidates, Tan Zuking smiled. As long as she wanted, this little accident in the assessment would not be an accident, but an alternative test for the candidates. What would you do in the face of the beast tide, little junior brother? Looking at the handsome boy waiting quietly on the screen, Tan Zuking showed an interested smile on her face. Obviously, she did not think that Chen Wei could defeat this small-scale beast tide. You must know that a beastmaster who can defeat a rank 4 lower-level alien beast with a rank 3 upper-level pet is already a thorough genius. If you can defeat a rank 4 upper-level alien beast by crossing a whole large rank, this kind of beastmaster, who is equivalent to creating a miracle, can be called a monster, even in the whole Donghu country. In general, just like the 4th level source star of the beastmaster needs to ignite the spark. The alien beasts also need to ignite the spark when they advance to the 4th level, but they need to ignite the fire of blood to refine the magic core and blood in their bodies. Because of this, even if they are both elite races, there will still be a huge gap in strength between the 4th level alien beasts and the 3rd level alien beasts, not to mention the 4th level upper level alien beasts that lead a race. In Tan Zuking's opinion, facing such a beast tide, Chen Wei can defeat a 4th level upper level commander level alien beast and retreat safely, which can be regarded as a beast taming genius beyond the SSS level. But if Chen Wei intends to use his own strength as a sharp knife to penetrate this beast tide and safely reach the 4th floor, it will be a crazy choice with no way out. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224, Facing the Enemy Head-On. For Beastmasters, the reason why the beast tide is so scary is because of the endless variety of powerful beasts and the overwhelming number of them. If many beasts with powerful racial skills use their skills together, they can almost destroy beastmasters below the king level. If there are some special beasts with extremely strange racial skills in the beast tide, such as the dark shadow magic, its racial skill, resentment, can directly kill the beastmasters with weak bodies in the early stage through a short-term curse, which is the so-called instant death effect. In the large-scale beast tide, this strange curse skill that brings together a large number of shadow magics cannot be resisted even by ordinary defense source devices. Only some rare spiritual defense source devices can resist this curse that directly invades the soul. However, this is a practical assessment of Zidian University, and there will basically be no special beasts that pose a high threat to candidates. Moreover, for the sake of caution, Chen Wei also asked Kai Ling to use his powerful mental power to sense the specific races and approximate strength of the beasts in the beast tide, so as to avoid a crash. There are a total of 265 extraordinary beasts below the 4th level, most of which are earth and crystal beasts. There are 23 elite beasts of the 4th level, and 15 of the 4th level, which are mostly earth beasts. There are 3 upper 4th level beasts in the leader race. Are these 3 beasts all dragons? As Chen Wei's mind continued to communicate with Kai Ling, his face became more and more solemn. If the number of the incoming beasts increased several times, even a master beastmaster would have to avoid the beasts of this size, not to mention the new beastmasters like them. Fortunately, this number of beasts was still within the range of Kai Ling's handling. The only thing that was difficult to deal with was the 3 upper 4th level leader beasts. I have to say, These two guys are really geniuses in causing trouble, as they can provoke so many powerful beasts and make them form a beast tide. Chen Wei glanced at the two beast masters beside him and complained in his heart. However, Chen Wei did not expect that the biggest culprit behind this incident was actually himself, who was unaware of it. Dark Tide Baptism, the most powerful angry sea dragon roar. Guan Kingshan felt a vibration coming from not far away and ordered immediately. Lulala, oh, understood. I saw a dazzling purple-blue light flickering on the dragonfish Blue King, and as the light flashed, the dragonfish Blue King's aura was also rising. Dark Tide Baptism, a 5th level water-based enhancement skill that can greatly increase the power of the next water-based skill, and the source energy in the body can be slightly enhanced to strengthen its own strength. After the enhancement was completed, the dragonfish Blue King opened its mouth, and the majestic water source power was gathering in its mouth. At this moment, even on the left and right sides of its body, two spiral-like waves appeared, constantly brewing an astonishing raging force. Say hello to them. After the jade crystal body protection, come the jade blood erosion. Su Kun looked at the group of beasts approaching from a distance, and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. Kak, Cyrillic lettered X, received, the frost jade chicken, which had been leisurely lying on the head of the beast master waiting to escape, condensed its size, and then quickly fell from Su Kun to the ground. A pair of terrifying chicken feet that were powerful enough to break gold and break stone burst into green light like jade, and the surrounding temperature suddenly dropped sharply. One by one, the cold armor made of jade instantly covered its entire body. Jade crystal body protection, a 5th level ice and crystal dual system enhanced skill. The armor condensed by cold crystal jade can greatly improve its own defense and the power of ice and crystal dual system skills. As a price, the speed of the caster will be greatly reduced. Then, the frost jade chicken spread its wings, and the emerald green cold air instantly wrapped around its body. Kazikazi, this is the sound caused by the ground being affected by the green blood corrosion skill and starting to freeze. As a large-scale ice attack skill, green blood corrosion has extremely terrifying freezing and frost erosion capabilities. Even when charging, the green blood corrosion, which has not yet fully formed, can turn the feet of the caster into an ice field. Seeing that the two temporary partners were ready for battle without even saying a few words, Chen Wei immediately looked at the colorful spirit wrapped around his wrist. He knew very well that in this level of beast tide, Yutong, whose attributes were severely restrained, could not play a big role at all, but the colorful spirit whose attributes restrained the earth system could play the greatest effect. So, the colorful spirit, who had been invisible in this assessment, flicked its tail, and its petite body suddenly floated in front of the Beastmaster, and then its body expanded rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. The next second, a beautiful dragon with a body length of about 30 meters, both elegant and powerful, suddenly appeared, and a shocking and domineering dragon power swept the entire maze at this moment. Feeling this terrifying aura, even the majestic frost green chicken, which was releasing skills, trembled subconsciously, and then the ground where the chicken's paws stood quietly added several layers of green frost. On the other side, sensing this terrifying dragon power, the pupils of the dragonfish Blue King, who had dragon blood, dilated, and the proud head that had been held high could not help but lower down, as if to express submission. This is the Void Frost Dragon recorded in the data. It is indeed extremely powerful and has an amazing momentum. Guan Kingshan's bright eyes flashed with a trace of imperceptible surprise and disbelief when she realized the fear and uneasiness in her pet's heart. You know, they are teammates now, not opponents, but her pet is so scared. If the dragonfish Blue King and the Void Frost Dragon were to fight head-on, wouldn't he be crushed and defeated without even being able to exert 50% of his strength? What's more, she knew clearly the pride hidden in the heart of her pet, the dragonfish Blue King. Even if it encounters the pressure of the king race in the tribe, the dragon species with the strength of the 6th level, it will fight back without giving in. I didn't expect that today it would choose to bow down in front of a 3rd level dragon. This world is too crazy. Guan Kingshan couldn't help swallowing his throat, and suddenly he felt more confident about the next battle. Double Frozen Desolate Domain. Ignoring the surprise of the two, Chen Wei conveyed his thoughts. Since we have chosen to face the impact of the beast tide head-on, we must first create a combat environment suitable for K-Ling, and the range field skill of Frozen Desolate Domain can just add some additional ice element range damage and recovery ability to K-Ling. Chapter 225 Dual Domain. In theory, a field skill like Frozen Absolute Domain can only be strengthened once, and multiple castings are invalid, but K-Ling has a unique talent for this skill. After experiencing failure, because of her desire for power, she accidentally developed a double casting technique for the skill, which is one of the reasons why K-Ling dared to fight against a beast type alone. If the Ice and Snowfield skill Frozen Absolute Domain could previously increase K-Ling's ice range damage and recovery ability by 100%, then after double casting, this additional bonus effect increased from 100% to 180%. What is the concept? Simply put, this means that K-Ling's skill consumption has entered the infinite skill mode of unlimited firepower, inferior version, from the rapid recovery of the source power in her body, that is, the source power recovery speed in her body exceeds the consumption caused by releasing skills. Of course, this infinite skill is limited to ice skills below level 3. Ice skills above level 4 consume more source power. If released continuously, the recovery ability of Frozen Absolute Domain will still not keep up with the source power consumption, unless K-Ling can develop a triple or even higher Frozen Absolute Domain casting technique. Therefore, K-Ling, who is already very good at dealing large-scale ice damage, was able to transform into an infinite firepower turret under the blessing of the dual domains of the Frozen Absolute Domain. Even the beasts with greater strength than K-Ling would be destroyed by her infinite ice tornado. Boom, two loud noises. K-Ling's blue body swayed slightly, and the terrifying frost instantly emerged from her body. With a violent roar, the territory where Chen Wei and the other two were located was instantly dyed into an astonishing white, and even the top covered by rocks began to slowly fall white but dangerous snowflakes. As the snowflakes fell, the majestic ice power emerged here, and the frost green chicken, which was accumulating power to release skills not far away, received a great blessing. The green frost was even thicker and stronger, and even the color of the blooming frost turned into darker dark green. The field formed by continuous release. Is this the 6th level skill Frozen Absolute Domain? Su Kun's pupils suddenly shrank, and envy and horror quietly emerged in his eyes that he himself did not even notice. Although his pet, Frost Jade Chicken, has never been able to learn this prestigious 6th order ice domain skill, but has anyone seen pork these days seen pigs run? Although it is just a theory, Su Kun knows the skill of Frozen Absolute Domain very well. He has never heard that this domain can be released in a superimposed manner. This wave is really eye-opening. Focus, they are coming, Guan Kinkson reminded. The next moment, the strange beasts that covered the sky and the field swarmed in like a tide. The first to run in the front were 3 strange beasts from the same race. Their thick hind legs stood upright on the ground, with a sharp long horn like amethyst on their heads, and endless thick purple scales extending to the back like spikes. There are white crystals protecting the joints between the arms and thighs. There is a sharp crystal at the end of the slender tail behind them, and there is a sharp breath when the tail swings. Name of pet, Amethyst Ceradops. Attributes of pet, crystal, dragon, racial level. Transcended commander, strength level, upper level 4, racial skills, mountain piercing dragon horn, shattering horn attack, raging dragon claw. Amethyst storm. Chen Wei's eyes lit up with a faint golden light, and the information of the leading beast of the beast tide immediately flooded into his mind. The area where the Amethyst Ceradops inhabits is very likely to have amethyst veins, a 4th level crystal beast controlling resource. It seems that this time he can make a lot of money. When he thought of the amethyst veins behind the Amethyst Ceradops, Chen Wei was a little excited. However, when he saw the large number of beasts running wildly behind the Amethyst Ceradops, he couldn't help but show a nervous look on his face. The elite race of the Earth system, the 4th level middle level stone chasing fierce horse. The elite race of the Earth and crystal dual systems, the 4th level middle level heavy mud crystal lizard. The elite race of the crystal system, the 4th level lower level wind sand crystal spider. As for the extraordinary races below the 4th level, the most numerous beasts were selectively ignored by Chen Wei. Begin preparing the infinite frostfall ice tornado, Chen Wei ordered. Among the ice skills that K-Ling has learned so far, only the ice tornado, which is extremely easy for her to use, has been trained to the perfect level. As for the other skills, the highest level of mastery is only proficiency. Even the skill of calling the wind and rain that Chen Wei has always been thinking about is still only at the proficiency level. The ice tornado with perfect proficiency can not only be released instantly, but also the power of the skill has increased exponentially. If K-Ling prepares in advance, she can continuously set off more than a dozen terrifying ice tornadoes with great power in a short period of time, which are enough to destroy a large number of alien beasts. I will create an opportunity first, looking at the overwhelming group of alien beasts in the distance that have begun to occupy his entire field of vision. Guan Kingson said, "Launch the angry sea dragon roar." The dragon-fished Liu King glanced at the elegant dragon in the air imperceptibly, and then endless raging waves gushed out of its mouth and both sides of its body, and the roaring waves like an angry dragon swept towards the direction of the alien beast. Boom! The roaring waves instantly submerged the entire rock passage. However, facing such a powerful and surging wave, the three purple crystal horned dragons running in front actually broke through the roar of the angry sea dragon just by relying on their physical strength. Behind them, the stone-chasing fierce horses, heavy mud crystal lizards, and a large number of earth and crystal dual-element beasts simultaneously released rock walls that stood up after the earth collapsed, thus resisting the attack of the huge waves. Tisk, I knew it. Guan Kingson was not surprised to see the roar of the angry sea dragon that returned in vain and did not cause any casualties to the beasts. If it hit head-on, she believed that the roar of the angry sea dragon with the greatest power would be enough to kill the 4th-level middle-level earth element beast in seconds, but in the face of such a beast tide, the skills released by the dragon-fished Liu King alone were too insignificant. But fortunately, my goal has been achieved. Looking at the large amount of water that filled the distant passage and even submerged the limbs of the beasts, Guan Kingson showed a smile on her face. Now, the green blood erosion, Su Kun ordered. At this time, the frost jade chicken was emitting dark green light. With a dual strengthening of the jade crystal bodyguard and the frozen absolute domain, it felt that it had endless power. In an instant, a green aurora suddenly burst out from its body, and the huge light was aimed directly at the herd of strange beasts in the distance. Crack, crack, the air and water suddenly made a freezing sound wherever the green frost passed. The herd of strange beasts that were still full of energy and fierce were frozen into large green ice sculptures in the blink of an eye by the extremely cold green light and the crazy spread of the water under their feet. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.